Blank check with Griffin and David. Blank check with Griffin and David. Don't know what to say or to expect. All you need to know is that the name of the show is Blank Check.
There's a podcast in the water.
Good. Strong.
Okay.
Simple.
So I've been having a panic attack for the last 48 hours, and I have a lot to say about this episode, but I didn't want to put time into planning out the opening. I just thought, let's go Occam's razor, let's go straight the fuck into it.
Great.
My name is Griffin Newman.
David Sims.
This is...
Pod Night Chimacast. Blank
Check with Griffin and David. This is a podcast where we discuss filmographies and one-offs of
wacko directors.
Wacko directors.
Boom. Let's keep going. I like this. I like this idea that we're just going to go fast.
Yeah. This guy's name is M. Night Shyamalan.
Right.
This is his 7th movie?
It is.
Lucky number 11 for M. Night.
Yeah.
It's called Lady in the Water.
He would have done a better job with Lucky number 11 than whoever directed it.
Yeah, Paul McGuigan.
Paul McGuigan.
Yeah. Lucky number 11, not terrible.
Not great.
No. You know who's good in it? Lucy Liu.
Yeah. When's she bad?
Exactly.
When's she bad?
She's never bad.
And
I agree.
that, ladies and gentlemen, weighing in with the voice of reason on Lucy Liu never being bad is, of course, our good friend. You might know his work from Vanity Fair.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Vanity Fair?
He's Vanity Fair's film critic.
What?
Yep.
Is that
Chief
correct?
That's right.
Head?
Yep.
What's the term?
Vanity Fair's head.
Yeah, I'm Graydon Carter's wig.
Ladies and gentlemen, Richard Lawson.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Richard.
Thanks for having me.
Long time, first time?
Oh, yeah. I was telling Ben before we started that when I listened to your first episode ever about Phantom Menace, I was like, this is a mess, and what are they doing? And but then I would like 30 minutes in, I was like, oh, I'm in love with this. And,
the first 30 minutes of the first episode of this podcast are, they're not great.
They're Phantom Menace-esque.
yeah, they are.
Yeah.
They are slow out of the gate, I would say.
Yeah. But then we pulled a reverse George.
We pulled a reverse Lucas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we just got better as we went along.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. All right. Let's not talk about George Lucas.
Yeah. Nope.
Let's talk about M. Night Shyamalan.
You know who would have done a better job with Lady in the Water? George Lucas.
Yeah. You know who would have done a better job with the Star Wars prequels?
Yeah, maybe.
Perchance.
He can't direct action.
Okay, so let's talk about someone who can direct action. He's the 4th man in the studio today. And he's directing us all into the booth, directing our levels to the right balance. He's here in the room with us again. Because I know this is the plot thread. Everyone hangs on.
Where's Ben?
Yeah, this is a new feature every week.
But here's the twist. There's also a walkie-talkie in the room.
Yeah, for some reason.
And he said that perhaps he might have to leave at some point during the recording.
This is great top of podcast stuff.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's keeping them interested and engaged.
Wait, who's this guy we're talking about? Well, it goes by a few names. Producer Ben. Producer Ben.
Yeah.
The Ben Deucer. The Haas. The Poet Laureate.
Yeah.
The Tiebreaker.
That's true.
Birthday Benny. Mr. Positive.
Yep.
Oh, Mr. Positive.
He's doing it off the top of his head.
Yep.
Amazing.
Sometimes they call him the Peeper.
Oh, yeah.
That's my favorite, I think.
The Peeper's good.
Ladies and gentlemen, I swear to God, if you call him Professor Crispy, you will have something to reckon for.
That is true.
Not a nickname.
He's got his fans, though, Professor Crispy.
Oh, yeah.
They
the
tweeted
Hogs?
us. Yeah.
The Hogs you're talking about?
Do you have a new name for him? No.
Well, people call him Producer Ben Kenobi. They call him
Kylo Ben.
Kylo Ben.
Yeah, there's that one.
I think we hit all the big ones, right?
Yeah, probably. There's probably other. Hello, Fennel. We got that one.
No.
Yeah.
Hello, Fennel.
Fennel.
Can't forget that
Well,
one.
I always try to end with that one. I say, let's
sure.
grant a hearty hello, Fennel.
You've literally never done that.
I've done it once. I think
fine.
once before. I always try to do it.
All right.
His name's Ben Hosley, and I love him.
Yep, Ben's here. It's nice to have you, Ben. It's much better than last time when we did The Village and you were silent until like 90 minutes in when you just screamed, "And this!"
And that's what, wasn't David Ehrlich sort of alarmed?
He was
like
quite alarmed.
Yeah, that was good.
Understandably.
David, you have your laptop open.
It was like 9 p.m. too, you know.
It was our first ever late night recording.
Uh-huh.
Blank Check Nights, we call it. It's our new saucier spinoff.
Chelsea Nights. We're in Chelsea.
Chelsea Nights, yeah.
My laptop is open. What do you want?
Will you go to the iTunes reviews? Because there are a couple recent ones I want to read. I trust your judgment to pick out which ones they are. But there are a couple short ones that I think were of import.
I'm opening iTunes, so within an hour and an hour and a half, I'll have those ready for you.
So I'm going to vamp with some other housekeeping as you do that. Of course, we are part of the UCB Comedy Network, which has recently gotten a big push on iTunes. Hey, guess what? You know what? Help the family, help us.
please subscribe to some of our other shows.
We were on the front page of iTunes.
We were on the front page of iTunes.
Cool.
I think we still are.
Hey,
actually.
what?
UCB
Hey, what?
Comedy is also going to be a featured provider, I believe, when this episode comes out.
Oh, my Lord.
So, fun stuff happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, check out all our shows. And
You don't even have to listen to them. Just subscribe and then rate and review.
Just
Perfect.
update. My iTunes is freaked out that I unsubscribed from Apple Music and is currently crashing. So just keep giving you an update on how iTunes is working.
Cool.
Okay, great.
Love iTunes.
Cool.
Great.
You know what? We'll get to the reviews later.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there are any other pieces of housekeeping. Not for now. I might remember something later. I feel like there were one or two things relevant to the franchise at large.
Maybe.
But I'll get to them later.
All right.
Okay, so today we're here to talk about a film called The Lady in the
No,
Water. Oh,
there's no the.
There's no the.
I'm sorry. I fucked up and I stopped myself because I remembered what the housekeeping business was. There's a new segment. There are two new segments I want to introduce on this episode. One of them I think is long overdue, and one of them was we're forced to add this segment because of two big occurrences in the last week, David. That have happened to two of us. Hashtag the two friends.
The two friends. Hashtag we are the two friends. We didn't mention that.
This is a new segment called The Burger Report.
Yeah. I see.
this is a segment-
This is the one that's inspired by me.
Oh, also inspired
and
by
also
me.
inspired by you, right? I saw
That's
your
why.
tweets.
Two
I saw
things
your
happen in
tweets.
1 week. I got to start a segment.
Okay.
This segment's going to open up every week. We'll check in at the Burger Report. There might be no news.
Yeah, probably.
But if either of us, our guest, or producer Ben, a.k.a. Producer Ben, a.k.a. the
Don't
Ben-ducer,
do that. Yes, go
have
on.
any updates about people, cool people they've gotten to see eat a burger, this is the segment where that update will go.
Yeah.
So, David, would you like to lead with the first Burger Report?
Sure. I'm going to request that you cancel the theme music. Maybe we get new theme music.
I'll ask Lane Montgomery, who, of course,
give us a
sings
Burger
our
Report.
theme song. Yes.
Last night I was at Moo Burger on Court Street in Carroll Gardens.
Humble brag.
I was
Court Street.
I was eating a
Were you a
6
judge?
p.m. dinner.
You're Bob Duvall or
I
something?
was in my robes. And
Yeah, I was at, which is Moo Burger, by the way, located within the Princeton Club. I don't know if
Jesus
I was eating a 6 p.m. dinner, so it was clogged with infants. This Moo Burger, and next to me was Michael Shannon, Oscar nominee Michael Shannon, eating with a bunch of kids and a couple of adults eating his own burger.
does he look really serious when he's eating a hamburger?
He looked serious all the time.
Right.
He's very handsome, in my opinion. Very tall.
Craggy.
Yeah, a little craggy. He had some facial hair. Looked great. And I obviously, my girlfriend was with me, and I was like, Michael Shannon, it's Michael Shannon. And she's just like, nope. And then she's like, sorority? The sorority letter. And I'm like, what are you talking? I don't know what I'm like, that's not a movie. I don't know. And then, of course, I remember he did that Funny or Die video where he reads that angry sorority letter that went around the
that
internet
was great.
last year.
I don't usually like those like.
No, I rewatched
people
it and
read
I was like,
things
this
and-
is
yeah,
fantastic.
that was good.
It's a very
Yeah.
well acted.
Yeah, that's
speech.
why, because he's a great actor.
Yeah.
You should have just told your girlfriend that he was the recipient of this year's Griffin Blank Check Award.
I
for
did
Best Supporting
mention
Actor.
his performance and your love for it in The Night Before to her, and she has seen Man of Steel, so I mean,
Has Joanna ever listened to the podcast? I shouldn't name her.
yeah, she usually listens.
Okay, she does. Okay, I want to know. I wasn't leading anything with that. I'm just always curious.
She doesn't listen to every episode, but if she's seen the movie, she listens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so now time for the next installment of the Burger Report.
Uh-huh.
I was in humble brag, Hollywood, California.
Hollywood.
I went to a place called Apple Pan in Los Angeles. That's my favorite
good
place in
place.
all of
It's,
LA.
famous.
It's
I've
a little
heard of it.
overwhelming, I find, but like the whole process of like getting a seat and stuff. But I do like it.
I went there and it was pretty empty, which was really nice.
It was a
And
weekday, probably.
Yes.
I went on like a Saturday afternoon, so
Yeah,
it was,
very quiet. It really feels like a time machine walking into that place. It doesn't feel retro kitschy.
it's
like
in a weird part of town that's kind of fun.
very weird part of town that was within walking distance of my hotel, which is all I look for as someone who doesn't know how to drive a car.
Where is it in?
Oh, I have no idea. It just felt weird.
I've definitely heard of the Apple Pan.
Century City?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
I think
okay.
but it's not like the big buildings that you think of when you think of Century City. It's more just like it's just I don't know. It's
No,
odd.
it's sort of in between Century City and West LA, and it's near a mall that's not very popular.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
It's a great place. They serve you soda in like a paper like triangle.
Okay.
With
But
crushed
what
ice in a
happened?
metal holder.
What happened at the Apple Pan?
Well, here I am just eating my steak burger,
Sounds good.
medium rare, cheese.
I also got my burger medium rare with cheese. So.
Hey. This is why the burger report's important.
two friends.
Because you got to find these things out, okay?
But we don't know how Michael Shannon got his.
Well, I looked him up, and he's a vegetarian, so I think he was eating a veggie burger.
Oh, and you don't want to eat those rare. No.
That's good detective work.
Cook those suckers.
I'm down in a Sprite. I'm chomping at my burger. I'm salting and peppering my fries.
Yeah.
I take a look over my shoulder, and who is there but three-time, yes, recent, three-time, a historic, three-time Academy Award winner for Best Cinematography, consecutive awards, Emmanuel Lubezki.
Chivo himself.
Well,
Wow.
see, now
That's a
I
good
didn't
one.
call him that because I'm not his friend.
Okay, fine.
And this is a pet peeve
known
of mine.
as Chivo.
We do it, ironically.
Do you call him Marty?
I call him Marty, yes.
Okay.
I call him Marty Lubezki. He was there with his parents
Okay.
eating a burger.
Well, that's nice.
It was really nice.
With his
Did he-
parents?
Yeah, his parents.
Okay. I mean, they might have just been two old people.
They were speaking Spanish. I might be
all right.
racist,
Racist against Spaniards.
but he was hanging out with two old
Or
Spaniards.
is he Mexican? Actually, I have no
He's
idea.
Mexican.
Okay.
He's Mexican.
I don't know.
He was
Emmanuel
speaking with
Lubezki's,
two old Mexicans, and they looked very proud.
Sure. Did he have his Oscars out?
Now, you texted me and asked me that.
Oh,
My
I-
joke I made was that he was using all three at once to apply condiments to his burger.
Sure. Yeah.
I
Ketchup,
thought-
mustard, and mayo. Yeah.
A funny off-the-cuff text. I thought pretty good within the circumstances.
What?
Any further questions, Ben or Richard, about either of these burgers that we witnessed?
No, I just feel sad that I don't have
You
one.
have no burger story.
I mean, I've
for us.
seen famous people eat hamburgers, just not this week.
Well, if you want to toss out a famous person eating a hamburger like from your past, that's okay.
I saw at Toronto Film Festival. I saw a lot of celebrities eating little tiny hamburgers because they were past hors d'oeuvres, but I can't specifically remember. I think Rachel McAdams.
A good one. Good one. I'll also say, Richard, you have an open invitation anytime you have a burger scoop.
Yeah, call
Can I
in,
send it over?
text
Yeah, okay.
in.
Yes. Yeah.
Just
Send
Uber-
us a
Uber
voicemail.
over.
Anything you want
Oh,
to
it could be like on Radiolab. I could leave you a message and you could play it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And
We should have a 24-hour, 7 days a week phone line that people can call into and leave us messages on.
It's a worthy expense.
I think that you should look into that, Ben. Just setting that up for us.
And then you can say, just call my answering service.
yeah.
Or Ben could just be the answering service.
Yeah, I'll just give out my personal cell phone number.
Hello, Fennel. I do have a couple of reviews, or should we just get into Lady in the Water? These reviews are very short.
I got burger stories
I'm
for days.
Sorry, Ben.
Now, here's the thing.
But you have to pick one. That's the point.
Well, I just want to say, I used to work at the Spotted Pig. So
Oh.
I've got
very
a lot
fancy.
of burger stories.
What a good segment. We got an infinite well of burger
I
stories.
can dive
here.
in anytime, but I'll say top one, I had Kanye West.
Oh,
Sure.
that's pretty
He was
funny.
sitting in the
He's quite famous.
Quite
VIP
famous.
section. He never looked at me once, but he ordered a couple of drinks.
Wow,
and he
so
ordered a burger.
He did
From
this
you.
all without,
He
right.
sent the burger back. He never actually looked at me
What was his
once.
problem with the
Wow.
burger?
He said he wanted it more. He was well done. He was like, he wanted it more well done.
That tracks.
Yeah,
actually.
that's the kind of
Yeah.
annoying, weird thing that
Yeah.
he would do.
And he was so upset that we only offered blue cheese as the cheese option. I'm
kind
like,
of
I don't
annoying.
know, man. I'm just like some dumb waiter. What do you want from me?
Wait, you're saying that you were a dumbwaiter? Like the Thomas
Literally,
Jefferson's
yep.
elevator waiter
That was
invention?
my job. That was my job. Yeah.
I want it more well done. That was my review of Life of Pablo. Life of...
Yeah.
More well done, please. Life of Pablo.
Uh-huh.
I haven't slept much. That's been a running theme on the show. Okay, quick reviews, and then we're going to jump straight into the water.
Here's one review from TC14 that said that the viewer's review is titled "Good Show."
Cool.
Says could use more bits.
Look, we hear your
Yeah,
complaints.
we're giving you bits right now. Jeffrey Malone, brother to Rob Malone, I
Friend of
believe,
the show.
gives us 5 stars and says, I like it when Griffin gives out comedy points. So Griffin, keep doing that.
I'm going to start doing that regularly. That's a
That's
thing that
a
was
bit.
my friends and I invented that. Sam Rogal, Patrick May, and Alejandro Collini. We created that, and I'll
many
keep
points?
it going on this on the show. Yeah.
Here's my favorite one. This is by Bob Duvall, spelt Duval.
Fine actor.
All right. The title of the review is I'm Bob Duvall. And the review is, and I'm the judge. So
Good.
good review. So I think we should leave it there because that's really good.
I think there was one more review. I'm not going to make you search for it. There's one more review where the line I remember was, I don't get the TC14 thing. To which I say, fuck you, drink a cup of diarrhea. So now on to today's film.
Wow. Wow.
Strong words.
What's not to get? What are you talking about? What's not to get?
I think they just think you're a gross dude who pervs on a robot too much.
Well, you're allowed to say that, and I will accept that, and I will agree.
All right.
But don't say you don't get TC-14. That's
So-
offensive to her.
The year is 2006.
Great time.
Big year.
Yeah, what's going on in 2006?
I moved to New York City.
You moved to New York City.
Congratulations,
Yeah.
Richard.
America's really starting to feel George W. Bush's suckiness. I feel like that's when it all...
We were headed for a very good midterm election.
We were headed
Yeah.
for that very exciting, yes. The Democrats retook the House and the Senate, I believe.
It's the rally. Yeah.
What else was happening? I was still in college. You were probably...
I was in high school.
In high school?
9/11 happened 5 years ago.
Ben,
You know,
It's true.
Look. You know.
I believe, yes, technically, yes. I believe at the time of this film's release, I was in an animation program. I was doing a summer animation intensive at NYU because I thought I wanted to be an animator.
Sure. This film came out in July 2006.
Yes, I was at NYU attempting to be an animator.
They still haven't found any weapons of mass destruction.
Sure, we were
Yep, that's true.
embroiled in the Middle East.
Yeah,
Had
badly.
Petraeus reared his head yet? Had the surge happened
Oh,
yet?
I don't think so.
I think Hurricane Katrina was the
Year prior.
the year prior.
I moved
so.
to New York City in July 2006. So basically, me and Lady
Right.
in the Water have a real strong connection.
Did you see it in New York City? Oh no,
No,
you've
I'd
never
never
seen
se-
it.
I'd never seen it
I had
until this
also
week.
never seen this film.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm at
I
this...
had thought that I had seen this film, but there is no way.
I think I
this
saw the
movie.
first 10 minutes and it was absolutely not.
I might have caught some of it on TV.
I was in this animation program that was at NYU. I grew up 3 blocks away from where this program was happening, right? Mm-hmm. And they had it was run like a prison. We had to be escorted to the bathroom and everything.
That sounds weird.
And then we
I guess
had,
because you were little kiddies.
17?
No, but whatever. Anyway, go on.
Yeah. But I found out later as I went on that there had been a problem in the past of children being abducted by their parents from the program.
By
their parents?
Yes, parents who were going through a divorce, and the dad came
right.
as featured in one of this year's Academy
Everything
Short Film
will be
nominees.
okay. Or
Yes.
whatever. Yes.
Parents going through divorce. The father thinks he's going to lose the custody. He goes to visit his child.
Right, and then just snatches them away.
Takes her in a car. Goes missing.
Yeah,
And there was
like,
another
like Rockefeller.
Yes.
Rockefeller did that.
Is that right?
I think so, a while back.
of Rockefeller Records.
Yeah.
And then there was a kid. More bits. I'm giving everyone bits. I'm just trying to do bits. 0 comedy points, Griffin. There was another incident in which a girl did something stupid and got arrested while on the program, and her parents sued NYU because they said she was never a bad kid before NYU ruined her.
It has ruined a lot of people, to be fair.
That is true.
Yeah.
Are we just going to rag on NYU? Is this the NYU feelings coming out?
Bunch of jerks.
My father works
Get
there.
out of the village! Go on, sorry.
Anyway, so I was in this program where we weren't allowed to leave at all. Everything was in a group. It was like being in a preschool, and I had curfew hours. And I remember one of the things I was really stressed about was we made one trip to see a movie the whole month that I was there because and I was missing all these fucking movies. I couldn't see movies.
Yeah.
That's my thing.
That's your thing.
And I'm a huge M. Night guy. And I had hated The Village at the time. Liked The Village more on this recent rewatch.
But
right?
you, like most of America, had been very disappointed by The Village.
Almost angry, I would say. And I was so ready for reinvention. He's doing something different here.
The movies in theaters right now. You've got The Devil Wears Prada, Superman Returns.
My
you've
super
got,
ex-girlfriend.
Okay.
Cars is still going
Cars.
strong.
You've got Click.
Yeah, people are clicking. America's clicking.
You've got the Pirates of the Caribbean the second one.
Dead Man's Chest.
Yeah.
That was the one movie we went to go fucking see, which I hate that franchise.
You've got Little Man.
Oh, of course, we had Little Man.
Got You, Me, and Dupree.
Is Little Man the one with Cynthia Nixon? Or am I imagining things?
Well, Little Man is
You're thinking of Sex in the City.
Speaking of burger.
The movie you're thinking of. Little Man's the movie where Marlon Wayans is a little
He's a
guy.
little man.
And he pretends to be a baby.
Oh, there's a movie. I think it's called Little Manhattan.
Yes.
Oh,
With
yes.
Cynthia Nixon.
Yes, indeed. And
I
you
know.
know,
I was
Boy
just
in
like,
Love.
I was just frantic because I was like, is Cynthia Nixon in that weird Wayans Brothers movie where
I mean,
Marlon Wayans' face
look,
is
Cynthia
superimposed
Nixon-
onto a baby?
she plays the police captain. I could see her doing that. Do you know who I think is the little boy in Little Manhattan? I'm not 100% correct about this.
You?
Josh Hutcherson.
Oh, no, you're right.
But if I'm
that's
wrong,
true.
it's me.
No,
I was my second choice.
I'm
my
pretty
second
sure
guess.
you're
Yeah.
right about that, actually.
Yeah. I was the little girl in Little Manhattan.
But anyway, so you didn't get to see any movies, and
I saw Parts of the Caribbean, which I hated. And I spent a month arguing to people that didn't even fucking make sense as a movie.
It's not a big sense maker, that one.
And people would be like, no, the plot makes sense. And I was like, they literally never explained that. And then I realized 2 years later when I saw it on cable that I'd fallen asleep for 15 minutes and didn't know. And a lot of the scenes I argued didn't happen in the movie did in fact happen.
So you were in the wrong.
Yeah, but the movie also
You
blows.
were the Max Landis of that situation.
Correct.
Yes. Okay.
And I take my hits.
Yeah.
I'll take my lumps on that one, okay?
Right.
But so one of the other groups and one of the other concentrations, everyone got to vote for what movie they fucking went to go see. And one group voted for Lady in the Water, and I was so jealous of them. And they came back, and the cafeteria the next day, it was the photography department or whatever it was, this Tisch summer program, was like, oh my God, it's the fucking worst. Snarf, 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 snarf. Look at me, I'm Story. Oh no, it's Grunt.
Wow,
like,
they were really ripping in. They remembered it, though.
Yeah. They kept on yelling at the cafeteria. They were going, snarf, 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 snarf. And I was like, these idiots, they don't even deserve an M. Night picture. Who do they think they are? So I didn't see the movie until like 2 months later when it was already almost out of theaters.
Right.
I went to see it by myself at Times Square, the AMC 25, maybe 2 other people in the audience. That's my background for how I came into the film. Everyone had told me it was stupid, and I was angry, and I hated his last movie.
And how did you feel about the movie?
Kind of like it.
Yeah. But do you still kind of like it?
Well, I want to hear your opinions first. I walk out of the film and I go, this movie obviously has fundamental issues.
Sure.
The largest issues are the ones in which M. Night Shyamalan presents himself as the one person who can write the stories that can save the world.
You know what? I think that's one of the better parts of this movie.
Really?
I don't think it's good.
I think everything in this movie, almost everything in this movie is mind-boggling. Bad, awful.
Yeah. I agree that it is awful. I also agree that it is so discombobulatingly bad that there is, I suppose, something sort of special about it. Like, it's not like you're watching some run-of-the-mill crappy movie, but it's bad.
I'm going to let you two
it also
steer
is,
the ship for a little while.
It
I want
is
to hear your
emotionally defunct, in my opinion. Like, and it has to not be to work, if that makes sense. That's like the biggest problem with this movie.
Right.
It's supposed to be this very sweet tale of like personal redemption, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's like very character focused. It's pretty small. It only takes place in an apartment block. And it's got lots of cute little characters, and it's got this idea of itself as like, oh, there's a fun ensemble with like,
and he hired great actors to play the ensemble,
as he usually does.
Yeah.
He's a good hirer.
I mean,
of
it's
actors.
interesting that then I guess people still wanted to work with him then. I mean,
Yes.
people want to work with him now, but
but absolutely.
Right.
I mean, even off of The Village, like The Village for its flaws had made Bryce Dallas Howard a thing, and had a great cast. And
you know what's interesting? I wrote some notes when I was watching it.
Yeah, sure.
And in all caps, I wrote, "This is the plot of Manchester by the Sea."
Oh, is it? Which Ken Lonergan's new
movie. Not to
movie.
spoil anything, but there's a family a tragedy in the past where a guy loses his family and then becomes the super of a building.
Right.
That is the plot of Manchester by the Sea.
So do you think Ken caught this movie and was like,
yeah,
I can do better?
I think there are parallels, but it's a very strange parallel, but it's there.
Is there any overlapping cast? Because some of these actors seem like people that Lonergan would work with.
I mean,
Yeah, no, you're right, but no, there isn't any, sadly.
Can we go through this cast quickly, just because it really is a murderer's
Okay, so
row of some of my favorite character actors?
All right, so I'm gonna say the cast. I'm gonna try and think of at least one of their stupid idiosyncrasies. So you got Paul Giamatti as a stuttering janitor, essentially, handyman.
Stutter. I mean, he essentially plays the role as if he's a cartoon jalopy. His stutter is. It's Paul Giamatti.
He's Archie's car.
Yeah. And they start the stutter at line 2. Like, the film opens with him working at a sink, underneath a sink, and he goes, ma'am, it looks like your tiles are broken.
Now, you're an actor, Griffin. Is the stutter something that you aspire to do? Because I feel like it's like some actors like Everest, like they really want to do like some weird tick like that.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. In fact, I feel like when I get auditions that say that there's a stutter required, I usually say, nope. I feel like it's kind of a thankless task.
Yeah, because it's a real condition that is hard to dramatize, and audiences find infuriating because, like, stutters are a little difficult to deal with even in real life because obviously it's like a little awkward to interact with someone with a stutter. But you're an empathetic human being. When you're watching a fucking movie, you're like, oh, for crying out loud, does he have to have a stutter? I have to suffer through this?
Yeah, and it always feels kind of insensitive.
Yeah.
They're almost always unrealistic.
And it's
It's always
for
a sign of weakness.
Right,
Or,
some obvious point is being
Yeah.
made.
Yeah. I think pretty much, the dominant 90% of the reason why Colin Firth won the Oscars, it was kind of the only stutter in film history that felt like, oh, that seems pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, it felt like he pitched that perfectly right. And everyone was like...
it was like, we understand all the roots of this. I mean, it was a whole movie about his stutter, like, medically.
But it was also, on a performance level, kind of unprecedented that someone got it just right in, like, the Goldilocks way. Like, they landed in just the right bed.
You're talking about Colin Firth in the Amanda Bynes movie, right?
Yeah, in What a Girl Wants.
Yes,
In the movie in which where she doesn't get into Harvard, but then at the end of the movie she's like, but I got into Oxford, so it's okay.
Yeah, and
I'll
he
never
goes,
forget that.
He goes, I am your father. He played her father in that
Have you
movie.
ever Matt Besser doing the King's Speech thing on Comedy Bang Bang, and it's like he has Tourette's. You got to see it. It doesn't have. You just got to see it. It's not that he has Tourette's. They just do the bit where he has to swear to like try and get over it, and he says like the most horrible things. And it's anyway.
Well, frankly, I won't listen to it because it's not on the UCB Comedy Network.
All right, Bryce Dallas Howard as Story, a sea nymph.
M. Night's muse.
Yeah, the muse, the film's muse, right?
Who he never worked with ever again after 2 films established as his muse.
I wonder if he blames her.
I wonder if she blames him.
They should both blame each other.
Yeah,
I want to see that movie.
A lot of blame to go around. You want to see that movie, M. Night versus Bryce, instead of Batman versus
just like
Superman?
deep-held resentments, and then like maybe a coming together at the end.
they're the Sid and Nancy of $75 million studio pictures.
Yep.
Yeah, this film cost $70 million, I believe.
Why? How?
I got some fun facts. These questions will be answered in Griffin's next news segment.
All right,
later in the episode.
Going through the cast: Bob Balaban as Harry Farber, a mercurial film critic, a effete little fool.
So his
I don't know.
His defining characteristic is that he is the least sympathetic character ever portrayed in a film. I
found him quite sympathetic.
He's a child's drawing of a film critic. It's great.
Suppose so.
Yeah.
An angry, resentful child.
He hates everything, including movies, especially movies. He hates life.
He hates his
job.
Other
he
hates interacting with people.
Seems to hate happiness. Yeah. I've seen Nazis who were portrayed on film in a more even-handed manner than this character.
Jeffrey Wright as Mr. Dury, a crossword-obsessed guy.
That's it.
He
has a son.
He has a son. He likes puzzles.
Right.
Sarita Chowdhury,
he's also doing the crossword in like the Philadelphia newspaper. I don't think it's that hard.
oh boy!
Right? It's not the Saturday Times crossword.
Hey, come on!
Hey, maybe he buys the New York Times just for the crossword.
Right. Maybe I should.
Shots fired.
No, but that is Sarita Chowdhury, who is a good actress.
I like her a lot.
As Anna Rand, who is M. Night's sister.
It's one of her weirdest performances ever, if not the weirdest.
It's
very strange.
It's odd.
Yeah. Like it.
But she's a great actress. We all
doesn't
agree.
really have any tics. She's just very passionate. She's very outspoken in this film, right? She doesn't have a tick.
I didn't realize until the end of the movie that she was his sister and not his.
I thought she was his wife too.
Yep.
Oh, really?
It took me way too long to figure out. Because there's even that conversation where they talk about how many kids she's going to have. And I thought that was them bantering about how many kids they were going to have.
Yeah. Interesting. Tracked perfectly.
Well, I mean, I always am like flirtily playing with laundry in the laundry room with my sister. You know, it's just
right.
what people do.
Right, you're always just tossing panties at each other. Yeah.
Living together.
Cindy Chung as what's her name? Young Soon Choi, a local girl at the
a local gal
at the apartment building who serves as a translator for her grandma.
Her tick is that she's
in school.
She speaks perfect English with a horrible accent.
Yeah, her tick is that she's Chinese.
Yeah,
right.
Like honestly,
and she wears like hot pants and like is always like she's in school. She has like studies. There's this sort of vague like book reading she has to do.
She speaks immaculately, but with a Mickey Rooney voice.
Right.
Yeah.
M. Night Shyamalan as Vic Rand.
Oh, he's in this?
Yeah, he's in this film. You could argue he's about like the fourth, fourth lead in this film.
I'd almost argue he's the third.
He is the inciting event for the whole thing.
The movie, which has two main characters, is centered around him. Right?
Well,
kind of.
The lady is in the water because of him.
She's in the water because of him.
And I'd also argue he's kind of like the strongest emotional empathy character. Him and Giamatti are the two characters that actually have like emotional arcs I think the audience is supposed to relate to.
Yes.
Story is more of a plot device.
He is an aspiring novelist who is writing a book called The Cookbook, which is about his ideas about leaders and stuff.
It never really seems to be a novel. It sounds like it's just him.
It sounds more like a Mein Kampf type manifesto.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so we'll get back to him.
Why is it called the cookbook? We never find out.
Just for some weird sort of like mistake that is immediately cleared up.
One misdirect that lasts for 15 seconds.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Where it's like, oh, is it just a cookbook? And he's like, no.
No, it's a book called The Cookbook.
I mean, that's
goes,
actually,
bad
the
title,
whole movie
huh?
is sort of defined by like weird things that are then resolved 10 minutes later.
Right, by just an explanation.
Right.
On a person just speaks an explanation.
I want to get this out now before we go on with the cast.
The next one's real good.
Yeah. I used to say that this film was one of the M. Night films without a twist. This is actually his twistiest movie. There's a twist every 35 seconds.
That's true. Well, but there are twists where it's like, he's not the protector, he's the angel. Or what? I already forgot all the names, and you're like, oh, okay.
You don't even understand what they were trying to make you believe until after the twist is revealed.
It feels like he wrote this like immense tome of this sort of legendary, the legendaria, whatever, of this world, these worlds. Mm-hmm. But then he gave us like one page of it.
Yeah.
But he's got it all in his head.
Definitely.
Maybe.
And let's remember, there is a supplemental book that was released. There was a fully illustrated children's book.
There was.
Because this was billed as a bedtime story from M. Night Shyamalan.
Yes, it was inspired by...
Top billed as a bedtime story.
And he, supposedly this is what he told his daughter, I think. And so I kind of think he was just making this shit up and was like, I'll just make a movie.
And he said it was inspired by, she was like, what happens in our swimming pool at night? Which is a fair question from a young girl who lives in a mansion in LA.
Right, we've all been there.
And he came up with this thing of like, I don't know, like a sea nymph comes out of there and then she meets like a weird stuttering janitor. All right, this is good. We're cooking now.
And I'm the savior of humanity.
So Freddy Rodriguez plays Reggie, a bodybuilder who's only building one side of his body.
Yep.
So
Let's
he's
get
got
more
big
specific,
muscles.
though. It feels like it's just one arm because it doesn't even look like he's got pecs on one side. It looks like he's just got the arm.
Right. He's like, I mean, he doesn't even say like, oh, I'm practicing to be in like an arm wrestling competition. He's just like, I just want to do this.
He says at one point
it's like
an experiment.
Yes.
Yeah. He looks like tertiary the Goon character, Joey the Ball, for those of you who read the comic book The Goon.
Nope.
Yeah,
Great.
sorry.
But yeah, he's got one huge muscly prosthetic arm, and then that is his entire
bizarrely
character.
cartoony.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's
and Freddy Rodriguez at this point is like Emmy-nominated actor from 6 Feet Under, like recognizable.
Right.
And so far, by the way, we're just saying like good cast,
great cast,
a lot of
great
good
cast.
actors. Bill Irwin as Mr. Leeds.
What a great actor!
Don't really remember him in the movie.
I
that
had just
much.
seen him a year prior as in Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf with Kathleen Turner, and he was very good.
Like in 2005.
Or late 2004.
Right.
Yeah.
His characteristic in this is that he's very serious.
Yeah.
He sits in his
room watching
immaculately
the news.
designed room.
It's not a bad performance.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. The news is always on the TV in the background,
and it's all war.
Yeah.
And he's always judging everything, but in a calm and
Right.
sort of steady, metered way.
He and Paul Giamatti's character share some sort of
tragic understanding.
appreciation for each other. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Jared Harris as Goatee Smoker.
What a fine actor!
Great actor, and one of the where I was like, oh, Jared Harris. Like
I didn't realize that he was doing American things that long ago.
I know, it's crazy.
He's been around for
He
a
had
very
been
long
around
time.
for a long time though.
Yeah.
He'd been in that Beatles movie like years before then.
Yeah, he just didn't pop forever, but he's always great.
Mary Beth Hurt as Mrs. Bell, the butterfly lady.
Mm-hmm.
Noah Gray Cabay, who was on Heroes, as Jeffrey Wright's son.
Who loves cereal boxes. That's his character trait.
Tova Feldsha, who's still around.
She was just a zombie.
She was just not zombie and then a zombie on The Walking
God,
Dead.
that was so good.
As Mrs. Bubchick.
Now, Tova Feldsha's character trait in this movie is that her husband's always shitting.
Yes, that's right. And she has a lot to say about him.
All of these character traits are introduced one by one in very sort of dutiful fashion, sort of at the beginning of the movie, right?
That's the first 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. Sort of in the same way that The Village works, except The Village is involving.
But this is... I'm withholding my opinions until later in the episode.
I'm not enjoying this bit.
This is like... It's like a series of vignettes. Like the beginning of the film almost feels like it's just like an omnibus story where it's like, look at all these little lives, but everyone has like this big cartoonish characteristic.
Yeah.
We've done all of them now.
It's the setup to a TV series. It's a pilot episode. It's not a movie.
Yeah, right. It's like these crazy apartment people. Like,
That'll be a great title for a show.
Which is great, right? It just rolls right off the tongue. David Ogden Stiers is the narrator who narrates the little animated sequence.
Oh, is that who that is?
That opens the film. Okay. Yeah, and you've got, Doug Jones is one of the Tartuics.
Sure.
Or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
You've got Ethan Cohn. that, he was kind of like a chubby guy for a while.
I loved his movie, Hail Caesar.
The guy with blonde hair and glasses?
No. You're thinking the other one. It's the guy who wrote Garfield. That's
right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But we've Tova is the last sort of big name in this cast. Yeah. But then there's there's a bunch of other people.
Yes.
There's like a whole family that's I think
There's
Mexican.
a whole band.
5 sisters.
There's
a band.
There's all sisters. There's a band. I feel like there's something else that we're missing. Some other
There's a pool.
All right. And me and Richard were talking.
There are a bunch of scrunts in this movie.
Yep.
Sure. Me and Richard were talking about this.
Okay.
She's not really in the water that much.
Very little.
And we don't even really see her.
We don't see her swimming.
No.
We don't see her swimming. I thought that she was going to have to go back into the water to get to the blue world where she's from.
Yeah.
Story.
Yeah.
But instead, an eagle has to get her. What's going on here?
Yeah, where the fuck is the eagle going?
Guys, we gotta slow down. We gotta back way the fuck up. So this film starts with an animated introduction narrated by
that I drew.
Yep.
Or someone of my equivalent
your
skill.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's stick figures.
Yeah.
With a lot of swirly lines around
It is
them.
cave painting
It
sort
looks
of
like the Coco Pelli thing, this god that they have at Mexican restaurants, who's playing a flute and has squiggly hair.
Yeah, it looks sort of like the Qdoba logo.
Yeah. It's all accent marks.
And everything is said in a manner of great portent.
Yeah, but I want to say that this is setting up a lot of stuff, and I couldn't tell you one thing that it says.
Agreed.
It completely does not sink in.
We've
Whatever
Well, it
is
was improv.
yeah. And it was live drawn for the improv.
On our, months-long, almost year-long deep dive into the Phantom Menace trilogy, we talked about there was a phenomenon that would occur in that movie, in those movies, where a stretch of dialogue is so much fucking nonsense information, exposition with terms that don't even make any sense, character names, planets, technologies,
right?
And it's just exposition, and I just go blank, and none of it processes it. And we're watching the same film week after week, and it was week 9, I was like, I think I get what they're saying in this scene.
We made a lot of mistakes on this podcast simply because that never was communicated to us, the information of that movie.
I was watching this movie on a plane while having a panic attack.
Great.
I will say the film did calm me down sort of weirdly.
It's at Quaalude energy for the whole movie.
Yeah, it did its job in that sense. But
the stakes seem very low, even when there's monsters and grassy dogs and God knows what else.
The stakes feel low. M. Night Shyamalan has to write the book that will save humanity.
The cookbook did.
He has to write the book that will inspire Obama and or Trump.
Right.
It might be Trump. They never clarify. They say someone's going to do a lot of stuff after these.
Right.
Okay, so I on the plane rewound. I downloaded this film off of Amazon because you can now download movies for 24-hour rental.
Great.
And I watched it. I
so
saw.
Wait, it wasn't just playing on the plane?
I sent in a request to American Airlines, and I said, "Hey,
you're really having trouble with corporate bodies, right now."
We'll get to the Sony thing at the end of the episode.
Will we?
Yeah. But that's called Griffin's Petition Corner. So I watched this on the plane. I was a little tired, right? I'm having a panic attack, whatever. And I started up, and the fucking the opening narration just goes right over my head, past my ears. Right?
Absolutely. Sure.
And I was like, okay, Griffin, stress out. This is your job. You got to watch this. You got to understand this. This is the key to figuring out the movie. Start it over.
Yeah.
Watched it a second time.
Sure.
Made less sense.
No, I did the same thing. I rewound it and I was like, nope, don't have it.
I mean, the crux is sort of our world, blue world. People in blue world come to our world? No? Yes?
Okay, but here's a policy. I want to throw out a rule, okay? New rule.
New no-nos.
No, this is a yes.
Yeah, okay. New rule.
Okay? If you are making a film that ostensibly is in English, right? Not in a foreign language, more than every other word has to be a word that we already know before we sat down in this film.
Yes, right.
Yeah. You know?
That's fair.
But narf, scrunt, what was that other word I already...
Turmeric.
Tartuic. Yeah, turmeric.
Yeah. I mean, and things like blue world, it's okay, those two words exist independently, but when you hyphenate them, then I no longer know what it means.
It sounds like a movie you'd see at the Science Museum.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, but it's fucking stuff
about jellyfish.
Didn't happen.
Yeah.
Narrated by, I don't know.
So, David Ogden Stiers. The dad from Better Off Dead. So I watched this 3 times in a row, and then just threw it in my hands and went, I don't know, just watch the rest of the movie. You've seen it before. You were able to track it enough without the introduction. I forgot that introduction was in there.
Yeah, sure. Right.
After the film was over, I was like, so now that you've just watched it, go back and watch the introduction.
Right.
It made even less sense to me. So we don't need to discuss this any further. It's nonsense.
You want 20 more minutes?
Okay, so...
So it's a very complicated bedtime story that adults can't understand.
Right.
So
And
I don't know that children can.
I've never heard of a child liking this movie. It is ostensibly for children.
To be fair, you probably haven't been asking a lot of children.
I've interacted with children in my life, and they've said I like X movie, such as Frozen. yeah, right. Yeah,
Where on Court Street?
Apparently you and Michael Shannon are just fucking chilling with kids all the time.
He was with like 8 kids. Mooburger's the kind of place where it's like that you go in there and you're like, are there are this many children in the world? This must be all of them, right?
But that's, he's got a lot of young fans now after 99 Homes. Kids, do you see how many fucking Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Award nominations that movie got?
I love Michael Shannon with the big surfboard from.
That's the Teen Choice Award. We're talking about the blimp.
Sorry.
Richard. We're here for bits by request of listeners, but let's make it clear when a bit's a bit.
You're not doing your bit. Are you going to do your bit? Richard pitched a bit to me.
I pitched a bit, but I don't think I'm going to do it.
No, I think it might be too late for
I was going to just only refer to Bryce Dallas Howard as Jessica Chastain for the whole
Would have been good.
Would have been good. Oh, well.
All right. So, it's about a Philadelphia apartment complex.
It doesn't look like Philadelphia.
No.
I'm sure it was filmed there, but it looks like Florida.
Yeah, it really does. It is. It was shot in Levittown, Pennsylvania. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to introduce this segment because I think it's going to be spread out. But the segment I talked about, I want to introduce new, is because I watched it on Amazon, right? And Amazon has this feature for selected movies they're trying. If you watch things on Amazon X-Ray, on Amazon Video, it's called Amazon X-Ray. And what it's supposed to be
sponsored by Amazon? Go on.
No, because I think this feature gave me some real scoops on this movie. Okay, Amazon X-Ray is supposed to be like. At any point you're watching the movie, you can tap or you can pause. It tells you which actors are in that scene.
Oh, interesting.
It tells you what music track is playing.
Huh.
And it integrates IMDB trivia into the film.
What?
So
like pop-up video.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. The hallowed, unimpeachably, always correct IMDB trivia.
Well, that's the new segment. It's IMDB Trivia Corner, okay? So I have this saved here. There's some facts that have come up already from where we are in the film that I think are relevant, because at this point I'm just withholding information. I have the inside scoop now. I know what's going on from these trivia facts, okay? And it's not, here's the introduction again. They don't throw them at you. It's if you pause the film, it tells you the trivia fact. Okay, ready? Here's one. Kevin Costner was considered for the role of Heap. However, Paul Giamatti accepted the part before they
Imagine Kevin Costner doing a stutter.
And then it says in parentheses, Giamatti really was the first option.
Okay, sure. All right. But someone just at some point
he was
like,
hot off Sideways.
Yeah, he was. This was his big casting off of Sideways. I remember where it was like, oh, maybe Paul Giamatti gets to be the star of a movie, and this was that movie.
I think this was the first thing he booked after Sideways.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Here's
in between, he had made Cinderella Man and gotten his Oscar nomination.
Right.
The 100% forgettable Cinderella Man.
Yep. So here are two facts that are questions that the two of you have asked that I now hold the answers
Go
to.
ahead.
Okay.
Director trademark. Pennsylvania. Okay, so that's a trademark. Shyamalan demanded that the set be within 45 minutes of his Pennsylvania home. He timed the trip, which took 43 minutes.
Wow. Okay, good job. All right.
It was all worth it.
They say the film takes place in Philadelphia, but as you said, it looks nothing like it.
It really looks like Florida, but I guess
it's this high-rise apartment building that seems to be in the middle of nowhere because right in the backyard, it's like it's a forest.
Yeah. And everyone seems to be dressed as if it's really hot.
Right.
Like everyone's always hanging out by the pool. Everyone's wearing like tank tops and shorts and shit. And like this is not a Pennsylvania climate.
Well, that brings me to my next fact. The reason for the film's shockingly high budget, $75 million.
Did they build this whole apartment building?
Despite being set in one location, is because the apartment complex and the pool were built for the film.
Wow. Oh my God.
Do you think they're still in use?
Again, it was all worth it.
If this film provided some housing for people,
for sure,
then you know what?
Some kids got to go swimming. I mean, it's good.
Some of this film was shot in Levittown, Pennsylvania, at Jacobson Logistics warehouse site. M. Night Shyamalan has committed to using film sites in PA. The set, built on a warehouse site, includes the apartment complex and a half-city block of row houses. Occasional footage was shot inside the overflow area of the warehouse. Most of the film was completed after Jacobson work hours.
Okay. Well, thanks for all that info. Anyway, let's get to the movie.
Character error. Given the length of the words mentioned, 9 across cannot touch 27 down in a crossword puzzle, as Mr. Dury says, interpreting the puzzle while Story is in the shower. It would have to be at least 19 layers long to do so. Before our listeners, I want to get ahead of that fact before people get thrown off.
Yeah.
the purists.
Yeah.
All right. So it's an apartment complex in Philadelphia area.
43 minutes outside, to be exact. But sure.
Paul Giamatti plays.
43 minutes from M. Night Shyamalan's house.
Yeah, we don't know where he
Not
from
the city center of
He
Philadelphia.
lives in the Liberty Bell. That man bleeds Philadelphia.
Is the happenings? Well, we'll get to it next week. So Paul Giamatti is Cleveland Heap.
Great name.
Great name. What a name.
What a heap.
Do you think Paul Giamatti was like, got the phone call and was like, oh, M. Night Shyamalan, yeah, absolutely. The lead in your movie? What's he called? Cleveland Heap.
Yeah, I mean, that's
we
the thing.
thought of you,
He's
Paul.
not like Lance Braxton. He's Cleveland Heap.
Yeah.
It's sad.
He is a stuttering, sad handyman at this apartment complex who everyone's kind of nice to.
Yeah, but they don't seem to respect that much. They're nice in a way where it's like, oh, we feel bad for that
Right.
guy.
They obviously feel bad for him. And pretty much immediately, a pale, naked, 24-ish-year-old red-haired lady appears in his apartment.
Yeah, first 15 minutes of the film are all these introductions.
Yeah,
of the characters
he's
we
meeting
set up.
characters.
And
yeah.
like between
Bob Balaban's moving in, stuff like
right,
that.
so you meet people through him. He says he's a film critic.
Yeah.
But he hates all movies. They're all predictable. He understands how all of them are going to work. They never surprise him.
Yeah.
Which is some sort of weird, like, Shyamalan saying, I know you were annoyed at the twist in The Village or whatever. Right? He's like, he's doing it like a...
But I'm smarter than you are and you don't get
Inarritu
it.
thing where he's like...
Right. There's some axe grinding. Inarritu's portrayal of a film critic in Birdman is sensitive and three-dimensional compared to Bob Balaban in this, right?
Yes. And the
Lindsay
ranking
Duncan
of,
role in Birdman.
Directors creating film critic characters to shit on film
straw
critics in
man
response
film
to last
critics,
film.
yeah.
I'd go, in terms of sympathy, right? I'd go, the number one is probably Mayor Ebert and Abe Siskel in Roland Emmerich's Godzilla.
Oh, yeah. Played by Michael Lerner and somebody else. I can't remember who else.
Yeah, the guy who plays Siskel, at a certain point, he quits, and he goes, thumbs down, 2 thumbs down.
Yeah, and Ebert constantly wants, like, candy. He's, like, constantly eating candy
Because he's fat.
Oh,
funny.
Yeah, he also dies of cancer at the end of the movie, which was really...
Griffin!
That's not my joke, that's Roland Emmerich. He's a fucking asshole.
It doesn't happen.
We saw Stonewall. You think that guy wouldn't do
Well,
that?
it's funny that Roland Emmerich chose 1998 to be mad at critics. It's like, no, just wait, Roland. It's going to get a whole lot worse.
This is gonna bite you.
I go Godzilla, then Birdman, or The
Lady.
Unexpected Virtue of Victory. Then Lady in the Water, a bedtime story by M. Night Shyamalan.
That's not in the title. So pretty quickly though, let's talk about it.
Oh, but there are a couple of these little interludes where it's like, no, because it's important. He's building mystery. He's building an air of aura. You go, maybe he's going to tease this out for a long time.
Yeah.
Oh, there's hair in the drain. Beautiful crimson hair. Where's this from? Oh, there's a thing on a chair and it disappears. Ooh, who took it? And then back to 3 more introductions, right?
Yeah.
And in 15 minutes, pretty early into the film,
Yep.
he's in his apartment. He sees a movement behind him in the
His
background.
lovely little
Separate.
shack.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
But it's a beautiful little
It's
house.
off-site. It is kind of nice.
Yeah. Beautifully filmed by Christopher Doyle.
Christopher Doyle is the cinematographer on this, and he doesn't make a lot of American movies.
One of very few. Yeah.
Wong Kar-wai's regular cinematographer, one of the great DPs for sure.
Yeah, a man who has said that you cannot make a movie unless you've slept with a black woman and spent a night in jail. That's a real quote from him.
Yeah, I mean, he seems like a character. David Ehrlich said some stuff on mic about him last week. He said even more stuff about him off mic that I'll tell you if you didn't hear it. And but anyway, great DP.
Great DP. Bad human being, probably. So in the background, out of focus, you see this movement, and then suddenly she just appears.
Right, and so...
Well, no, you see an arm reach up and grab a necklace or something, right? And then Giamatti, we see him looking at her.
Right.
We don't see her. There's a lot of that in this movie of weird perspective.
Right.
And then he falls in the pool. And then, so we first see her in his little house. We never see her in the fucking water. We see her arm in the water.
That's right. He walks into his house and she's there.
Because she's dragged him to safety.
He wakes up and she's sitting there.
Yeah.
She spends the whole movie frail and weak, but she had the strength to drag Paul Giamatti out of a pool
Joel
to his
Giamatti.
Joel Giamatti. That's our new name for him.
And it should be pointed out that she did this while nude.
While nude.
Yes.
Yep.
And there is that weird sequence, that thing where it sort of cuts to them just on the couch together.
4 honesty points, Ben.
Like,
Yeah.
Ben was, just for the listener at home, Ben was tapping me on the back, holding up his hands like, come on, give me some credit. Ben was really proud that he pointed out that she was naked.
I want to point out that I think we've been talking for an hour and we're on like the first act of this movie.
This episode's going to be 7 hours.
All right,
There's so much to discuss. But yes.
But what's special about her? 1, she's naked. 2,
she's played by Bryce Dallas Howard.
She's played by 3. He's not stuttering.
Yeah,
right.
Immediately.
4, she's a narf.
She's a narf. We didn't mention that. She is a narf.
She's a narf.
Of all the made-up names in the world for a beautiful sea creature, he came up with narf.
And
yes, he came up with the refrain that Pinky does in Pinky
5
and the Brain.
years after that show went off the air. Like, everyone knows that term.
It's true. That's what you think of when you think of narf.
I mean, I can just see him like being interviewed about this movie. Like, I don't know, it just came to me. And like, meanwhile, that's playing in the background.
Yeah, cut to.
Yeah. He had
even Thundercats.
That's right. Yes,
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this film is a direct sequel to Thundercats. We should make
absolutely.
that clear.
Yeah.
From the orange hair on down. I mean, it's just.
I do think I found online an early draft of the script, and there were some alts for that reptile
Did you really? No.
Reptar was one of them.
All right.
Zoinks was another one. I'm a Zoinks.
Scooby.
Yeah, she was originally going to self-identify as a Scooby snack.
It's a Velma in the water.
Yeah, so he is a little surprised, but pretty quickly accepts.
This whole movie is people quickly accepting that this crazy thing is happening in their swimming pool.
But there's not even a lot of movies do the thing where someone freaks out for a second and then accepts it quickly.
Right.
He never freaks out. He just goes like,
and I think
who are you?
the shorthand Shyamalan's trying to do is the stutter thing. And it kind of works. It's like the one thing in this movie I kind of bought where he's like, I'm not stuttering.
When she's around, he no longer sounds like Speed Buggy. Yes, that works. But also, he doesn't go like, who are you? What are you?
No. Yeah, there's not a lot. She's an ARF. There's a grunt outside, which is a wolf.
But we learn about these things.
Wolf?
I forget if we learn them first from her. So conveniently, the
Oh,
Chinese
of
mother
course.
and daughter.
We should talk about the Chinese mother and daughter.
Conveniently, they know this mythology.
Is it her grandma? I think it's her grandma.
Is it her grandmother?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, they know the or the grandmother knows the mythology that M. Night Shyamalan has cooked up somehow. So
this is like an old Chinese folktale
of exposition and explanation.
But in translation only.
Right. Yeah. So that's. But I don't remember if Bryce Dallas Howard, if Story is her name.
She tells very little.
Right.
Yeah.
She doesn't say much. Right?
She barely
has
speaks
like 6
in this
lines
film.
in the movie.
It's true.
Yeah.
She must have been quite perplexed by this whole process, and she seems like someone who really throws herself into whatever she's doing.
Right. You guys were talking about Mandalay last week.
We were talking about Mandalay.
Yeah.
This is off of Mandalay, isn't it? She done Mandalay between this and The Village?
Yes. I think
Believe
Mandalay
so.
came out earlier this year.
She'd spent some time in Denmark.
Being abused.
So
yep. Yeah, and I'm correct. And she'd also made As You Like It, the Kenneth Branagh flop.
That aired on HBO.
Yeah, because it was,
here are 3 relevant IMDb trivia facts. 1,
And I think she booked Spider-Man 3 before this came out.
I believe so as well.
Yeah. Anyway.
1, M. Night Shyamalan, delighted after he discovered unknown Cindy Chung, who is either the 3rd or 4th lead, depending on where you rank Shyamalan, I would say, was shocked to hear that her agent demanded $1 million for her role in the film.
Good for that agent. If my client is going to be so debased throughout this film, it's worth $1 million.
That is audacious. Do you think she got it?
Knight was prepared to pay the SAG minimum, $65,000.
Sure.
News to me that's the minimum. And
$5 and a sandwich has been what HBO paid you
that's
every
the
week.
Griffin Newman wage. Yeah, that's my quote. Is a handshake and someone telling that they're proud of me in the voice of my father. They settled for $100,000.
Well, I mean, Shyamalan got the best of that one.
That's more than I make in a week, so
Yes,
that's pretty good.
Okay.
Just about.
Yeah.
Fact 2. M. Night Shyamalan's wish list for his various male supporting roles included names such as...
De Niro, Pacino.
Well, you think you're joking.
Pacino, though, in this.
Any role, especially the Narf. I must grunt! All right,
Crossword puzzles. That's a segment we should bring back, which is Pacino playing
He
characters.
plays the Chinese granddaughter.
And grandmother.
Yeah.
It's called Pacino Plays It is the segment. It's a bedtime story.
Oh, no.
Take it off.
No. You're cutting
Milk
that
and
out.
cookies.
You're cutting that out. You're cutting that out.
No, it's staying
That
in.
is unacceptable.
Bedtime story.
Oh, boy.
M. Night Shyamalan's wish list for his various male
So
supporting
you're
roles.
alleging that Al Pacino is a racist. That is what you're doing. You don't have the cover of George Lucas's shitty racism.
I do. That's how fucking Pacino would play it. It's not my choice. That's how Pacino would play it. The segment dictates it.
He plays the part as written, and that's how it's written.
That's also how Pacino talks all the fucking time.
Anyway, go on.
I am Al Pacino. Okay. Included names such as... No bits from here on out, okay?
Yeah. I didn't like that bit. I want to be on the record.
Not a bit.
Mm-hmm. All right, go on.
William Hurt. The Big Hurt.
Sure, he'd just been in The Village.
Sidney Poitier.
Okay. Not making a lot of movies at that point in his career.
Chris Cooper.
All right. Yeah.
Gene Wilder. Who had not made a film in 15 years at that point.
But has red hair.
Has red hair.
He was going to be the lady.
Yeah.
That's the joke I was going to make. Congratulations, 5 comedy points for getting it to, before me.
Thanks.
Terrence Howard.
Okay, sort of right around Hustle and Flow time.
That was 05, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yep. Alec Baldwin.
He would have been good.
Vince Vaughn.
I'm noticing something about all of these names. They're all men.
Ah!
It did say his various male supporting roles.
Oh, okay.
I think Bryce Hallett had the part from the
Bryce
from the
Hallett?
get-go.
Bryce
Hallett. She Hallett the pot.
Yeah.
I think she had the part from the get-go, and all the other female roles in this film are
Tova
grossly
Felcha
underrated.
lived in the apartment building. They were just like...
They built it around
Yeah,
her.
yeah.
She was like the Lorax. She was living in the stump of a tree.
It's crazy.
And she woke up one morning, and she was in an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
And then at the end, she kicked herself in the behind and flew into the sky.
She was also voiced by Danny DeVito.
That was a deep Lorax cut right there. Okay, all right, guys. We're
There
feeling
are
a little
weird amount
silly
of truffle
today.
trees in that film. Did I get through the rest of the list? Forrest Whitaker and Don Cheadle.
All right.
Okay.
Well, it's a diverse
So he was,
list.
yeah, that's good, but that didn't pan out.
Not really. I mean, Jeffrey Wright. He got Jeffrey Wright in this movie, and we've noted before that he hadn't had a lot of diversity in his films up until this point.
This
film
is
is
most
much
diverse film.
Yeah, to its discredit.
Yeah.
It doesn't work out for him really.
To the glaring two stereotypes. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, nothing's great. Even the characters like this.
Nothing's great. That's right.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, let's go on.
I have one more short fact. M. Night Shyamalan was in talks with Philip Seymour Hoffman for an unspecified role. Hoffman, despite the fact, get ready to cry, that he, quote, loved the script, liked the role, had scheduling conflict.
What would that have been, I wonder?
He was going to take a shit that day instead.
No, Hoffman was going to be the guy in the bathroom.
Yeah.
The whole movie. Yeah. All right.
In all
Okay.
seriousness, he probably Balaban, right?
That's possible, I suppose. I mean, Hoffman won an Oscar the previous year. Like,
Yeah, but Shyamalan was clearly aiming high. He was trying to get Gene Wilder out of retirement. Like, he didn't think any role.
Orson Welles, Laurence Olivier. All right.
Chocolate.
Okay, so this lady shows up from the water, though we don't see her in the water.
The titular lady in the water, let it be said, if that wasn't clear to our listeners.
Her name is Story.
Yeah.
Interesting, very subtle.
Well, it's interesting
This
to know
movie
that
is fucking stupid.
that in the blue world, they're just like pretentious. Like they're like basically like they give their kids like celebrity
Yeah,
kids
it's
names.
all Paltrow's.
Like
in
her
the blue
siblings
world.
are pilot inspector, audio science Sassaman.
Have I ever told you that I met Pilot Inspector?
No, that's amazing.
Good kid.
Good kid.
Oh, that's cool.
Good
It
kid.
was such
Bad
a
role.
bummer. Bad role. That's why you spin off podcast is Good Kid, Bad Role. I talk about good kids and bad movies.
Yeah.
And I get put on a watchdog list.
So,
Welcome to my podcast about kids.
what happens?
Kids I like.
Guys, I have a question. For you. I have a question.
Griffin's kids I like.
Kids I got my
Griffin,
eye on.
enough about the kids.
Today we're talking about boys.
God damn it. I have a question.
Yes.
What happens in the rest of this movie after she shows
Well, so
up?
basically he turns on
Yeah,
the
No idea.
Ben is shrugging his
What
shoulders. Yeah.
happened?
he turns on the old Chinese lady and she starts spouting the story.
She does.
Right?
In dribs and drabs. There's we should talk about halfway through the movie because the Chinese lady is like, oh yeah, like there's
She seems a little reticent at first to divulge this myth.
and then the granddaughter's like, well, you need to appear more innocent to my grandmother because she's used to
yeah.
telling this story to children.
Yeah.
Paul Giamatti then just starts gets milk all over his beard and rolls around on a couch in front of her.
He's got a milk mustache.
Like kids do.
I believe I have a screenshot of it because I was so horrified.
Yeah, that's good for the
I'll dig
listeners.
that up.
And that was an IMDb trivia fact that the amount of milk on his mustache changes every time they cut.
Right.
Which I think is notable because it's like they didn't even try to keep up continuity. It felt like every new take, M. Night was like, let's throw some more milk on there. There wasn't enough.
Not enough milk.
Really play with the space, you know?
The space on your upper lip.
But if the guy with one big arm was not an indication enough, this scene with the milk is the indication that this movie is like off the rails bonkers.
Guys, it's a bedtime story.
Okay. It's a bad bedtime story. Bedtime story is usually very clear, one singular narrative, no B story. It's just kind of like a very simple arc that you
It's
can
just
follow.
Tova Feldsha.
Yeah,
They should have cut everything around her. This should have been the Tova Feldsha story start to finish.
I'll say my father used to tell bedtime stories to my brother and I. We shared a bedroom until we were like 11 or something.
Same with me and my brother.
Bunk beds. And my father used to come and tell a bedtime story. My brother was only interested in sports, and I like cartoons and comedy and stuff. So my father would come in every night, and off the dome, M. Night style. You didn't see him getting a fucking picture deal off of this. But M. Night style, he'd come and he'd sit on the floor, and he'd try to tell a story that weaved together our two interests. And he had a really good formula, which is let me pick an athlete, and then we pick a really cartoonish characteristic. So it'd be like Harry the hot dog. And it would be a guy who looked like a hot dog, and he wore a jacket, and everyone thought it was a bun, and they made fun of him. And it turned out he was good at wrestling because his body was so skinny that he could wiggle out anything.
Sure.
It was always something like that.
Okay.
Like Big Ears or Eric.
Okay, Griffin.
And then he was good at hockey.
Yeah.
This movie is like M. Night bought the rights to every story my father ever told and told them simultaneously. It's like people who have one weird tick and one thing they're good at doing.
Right.
And they're not necessarily connected.
No.
They just have a weird characteristic and one skill
Right.
that comes in play perfectly.
Right. But actually, in a way, they don't come. I mean, I guess they figure it out by the end, like how they're all supposed to be.
You're right. 75% of them don't work at all.
Right. Like Mary Beth Hurt spends the second half of the movie thinking she's the healer, and then she's just some old lady.
And no, she's like,
no,
oh, it turns... Anyway, well... Yeah. Right. So I guess the next major thing that happens is story is like, I'm here to find a specific writer who's going to write a really important book. Right? And Paul Giamatti then goes around just crashing into people's apartments going like, you're writing a book or something? Just asking everyone sort of randomly, like, you writing anything?
Writing any papers, lady?
There are these characters who are the smokers, and they're like a weird age range of men who all live together and just smoke cigarettes.
There's like a Beat Generation guy. There's like a flower guy. There's there's someone from every...
Emmy Award nominee Jared Harris,
It's M. Night Shyamalan imagining what it was like to hang out with the cool kids in college that he maybe never got to hang out with. I don't know. But it's like this weird conception of like, they're like music posters and cigarettes and,
But they do range in age from like 18 to 55.
Right. And at one point, he just straight up is like, do you guys write? Have you written anything lately?
Right.
With having never established that they were writers before.
But they got ideas, man.
And then it turns out that his friendly Indian tenant, who's Vic Ran, played by M. Night Shyamalan, in his largest role apart from Praying with Anger to date.
Yeah.
Who lives with his sister.
He doesn't get cast a lot outside of M. Night Shyamalan films. This would be his second largest role. You're right. I was trying to think of other movies that M. Night Shyamalan appears in as an actor, and I think this is the second largest role.
He's writing a book called The Cookbook.
Right.
Yep.
Which, here's the thing. Cleveland Heap sees the book and goes, fuck, it's a cookbook.
It's the weirdest moment in the movie.
Yeah.
And
but then 5 minutes later,
and then he's like,
the immediate following scene.
Yeah. And I think the idea is he's supposed to be like, how am I going to ask now? Because he's sort of secretly sneaking a look at this book that Vic is sort of like, nobody read my book. It's a piece of shit.
Right.
And then he's like, it's called The Cookbook. Now I have to clarify whether or not this is a cookbook. How am I going to do that? I don't know what to do. Hey, is it a cookbook?
Yeah.
No? Great.
I was using my ladder, and then the ladder knocked into the book, and the book opened up. And I saw that it was called The Cookbook. Is that... Which, once again, we're not making fun of people with stutters. We're making fun of Cleveland Heap.
Yeah, but you still... your Al Pacino thing is still a great shame to this podcast.
Also, I feel like if you were
think it's so great.
No. I did not want you to do more of that.
If you were the super of a building... Wouldn't you if you were as involved as he is, you would kind of know if someone was fucking making a cookbook, right? Because they'd be cooking all the time.
It's true that you might have heard a complaint about exotic smells.
Right.
So,
right.
There you go.
I don't know. That doesn't track for me. But the reason he's seeking this writer out is the writer's going to change the world. But
it's a bit. It's long-winded.
Is her job as someone from emissary from the blue world is to be in the presence of that person, basically infuse them with inspiration and meaning. It described as pins and needles feeling, and then she can go home. But she
can go home on the wings of a giant eagle. But unfortunately, there's a scrunt in the backyard, which is a grassy wolf that you can't look at unless you are a specific person.
The Guardian.
And
then all you can do is look at them. And then you gotta look at them.
And she assumes that Paul Giamatti, that Cleveland is this figure.
Of course.
And there's a tense sequence in which it appears he is, and then it turns out he isn't.
Yeah.
And she's like, run away!
He's moving forward!
The Scrunt's motivation is never established, right?
Not so much.
They're just bad.
And there are also like weird monkey creatures that supposedly can help her out, but they can't show up till later. I don't know why the weird monkey creatures are even involved.
Look cool. These creatures were designed by Crash McCreary, who also did all the monster pirates in the second Pirates of the Caribbean movie.
The fishy monster.
Like Bill Nye.
Like Davy Jones and everyone. Right. He's good at designing.
Yeah, Davy Jones, very cool character design. Yeah. Like Octopus Man, yeah. And Stellan Skarsgård is like a lobster.
I believe you're talking about Bootstrap Bill?
Yeah.
I have a good skill at remembering names of things I don't like.
Okay.
So I rewatching the introduction for the fourth time after watching the whole movie. This was the one idea I was able to get across clearly, was they say that like in the past there was a very clear channel between the blue world and the green world, I guess, or whatever our fucking world is called. The brown world, our world of doo-doo. And the blue world, when they were able to communicate with us, the stream of conversation led to a better society.
Oh, I see. And that's been cut off. And
we
that's part of the
became
problem.
more obsessed with the land. We started building things.
That's right.
So there's this sort of off.
Very vague environmental message.
Well, it used to be like it was just a constant back and forth. And now that it's become so disjointed, a guy needs to write a book that can change everything in one fell swoop.
Apparently, a Midwestern orator will read this book.
It will be on the bookshelf of a boy.
And they'll tell him, they'll be like, hey, this book's pretty good. They say a book he keeps on hearing about.
Right.
And he's going to, not to spoil anything, but he's going to read that book, but then also someone's going to assassinate M. Night Shyamalan over this?
Because Story can see the future.
Sure.
Sort of, somehow.
She
can't see herself being carried away by the eagle or how that happens.
Yeah, and she can't explain why these monkeys who are her protectors are apparently just not doing that.
Yeah.
Right.
But M. Night says, like, he keeps on saying, like, this book's just like all the thoughts I have, leaders and stuff. And then later in the film...
Oh, yeah, I wrote that line down.
Please read dramatic reading.
Hold on. No, I mean, I don't think I wrote the whole thing down, but... oh, fuck, I can't find... Oh, yeah. Just my thoughts on all the cultural problems, thoughts on leaders and stuff.
Yeah, I believe that is the whole line.
All the cultural problems.
All the cultural problems. And this is 2006, so a lot of cultural problems.
Yeah.
We're in the midst of the sort of W. Bush culture wars.
And right before that, I wrote, he can't cook, ! Exclamation point, because the way that Cleveland figures out that it's not a cookbook is he mentions like, oh, I can't make anything. And he's like, and then like Paul Giamatti slowly turns around and it's like, oh, it's not a cookbook.
Right. That's right. Really, I forgot about that.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's a twist. Like you say, this film is loaded with twists.
That happens 85 seconds after the idea was set up.
So she tries to leave. She meets M. Night pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Like, they introduce her.
Can I just point out one thing before? No, because I think...
What? Just say it.
M. Night has this later line where he says to her, he's like, I gotta say, like, you mentioned things happening in the future, and then Or you said the boy, that's what he goes, this fucking boy who had changed the world, why wouldn't he come out and try to meet me if he read the book? I'm not alive when the kid reads the book, huh? And she's, like, silent, and he's like, I say a lot of stuff in this book, things... I don't know how people are going to react.
A lot of stuff about Jews.
He never even begins to explain what he says in the book, just that it's a lot of ideas and that people are going to react strongly to it. There is no clear point that he's not just an anti-Semite. Like, the book could just be kill all the Jews.
Which it explains where he falls.
Guarantee you it's men's rights.
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
Listen to me now.
Yep.
This book is read by the Return of Kings guy 10 years later.
An eagle flies out of the sky and drops a fedora on his head.
He predicts in the book in 2006.
This book is I Hope They Serve Beer in Hell, and he is playing Tucker Math.
Yeah. He predicts in the book that 10 years hence, Ghostbusters will be remade with an all-female cast.
Right.
That's the inciting incident. Right.
This is not my Ghostbusters.
That's like the Treaty of Versailles.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, okay. So then she tries to leave. She gets attacked by the Scrunt.
Only attack her legs.
rips her legs.
She seems to be weakening throughout, and it's unclear. I thought they just had to throw her in the pool and she would be revived. No,
toss her in the pool.
Doesn't happen.
And she's going from like a Bryce Dallas Howard color palette to like a Mia Wasikowska color palette.
That's
when
exactly
she
right.
starts getting like drained.
By the end, she's Tilda Swinton in Narnia.
Yes. Now, so she explains, problem with the scrunt? Easy. We just need a symbologist, a guardian, a guild, and a healer.
Wait, can we talk for a second about this when he goes swimming in the pool?
Sure, yeah.
He has to. What does he have to do?
He has to go. Oh, I totally forgot about this.
He has to get her sand.
He has to get her like a magic item.
She has a healing clay.
So he swims into the pool.
And I wrote down Shelley Winters and Poseidon Adventure.
Yeah, absolutely. He goes a long way.
He holds his breath.
For like
time.
a champion diver, like a pearl diver level.
And he figures that he's a super of a building. Who was a what was his profession before his family tragedy?
He was a doctor.
A doctor.
He was a doctor. So he figures out this crazy breathing technique underwater where he like finds an air pocket and it's kind of MacGyver-y.
Right.
So I'm sorry, we have to talk about this.
Yeah.
Cleveland Heap used to be a doctor. One night when he was working,
Dr. Heap.
someone broke into his house and murdered his wife and children.
Correct.
Yep.
Much like the crime in Unbreakable.
Yes,
Yeah.
And like every other M. Night Shyamalan film, because you think he's avoiding it up until the point of this reveal, is about a man who spends too much time in his career and lets his relationship to his wife and or children fall away in some sort of fashion.
Yeah.
And this was so bad that
Yeah.
this is the one film where he lost his family entirely, and it was his fault.
Right.
Right?
Right.
He thinks.
If
If he had been there, if he hadn't been
he
working...
blames himself, sure.
Right.
Right.
And after that, he developed a stutter and decided to run a building.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like
And
as
has
anyone would.
none of the characteristics of a doctor.
What's definitely like not a stressful job is being the only super at like a 16-story apartment building.
And a fucking job where you have to communicate with people all the time, even though words are fucking impossible for you to get out of your mouth.
like a 350-unit building. Like, it's absolutely demented.
Full of crazy people.
and full of trees.
And Tova Felches.
And the swimming pool is a portal to another world.
Yes.
So...
Oh, right, that too, yeah.
that they mentioned that in the Corcoran listing.
Okay, so she...
Blue World adjacent.
He gets the clay. He unscrews the drain at the bottom of the pool. He dives underneath. He finds clay on a shelf.
Yeah, he rubs it on her legs.
And let's not forget also that they consult Grandma to figure out how to heal her, too.
Yeah,
Because, she provides all that information.
Yeah,
That's
There's
a
a
great
crazy
device.
scene where he's on the phone with the granddaughter while she's at the club.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And she's like, hold on, let me call my grandmother. And then she like relates the story. It's very bizarre. I don't know why he chose to write this thing where like it's all
where
like
it all
third
has to be
hand
in translation.
Yeah, it's very strange.
It's like the scene in The Last of the Mohicans where Daniel Day-Lewis has to have the British guy speak French to the Native Americans who only speak French. Mm-hmm. Anyway,
Yeah.
I recently watched Last of the
I'd
Mohicans.
like to say, though, the choice of having them always yell at each other really...
Yeah,
it's
really
great.
cements
So
the sort
good.
of like dimensionality and like thought that went into like portraying these people like as like not stereotypes at all.
Right.
No.
Griff's Rewrite Station. Here's a quick fix I would do on this movie, okay? Rather than have it be...
It'd be funny if your quick fix was all white people. Oh, God. This is the one movie where... No, go on.
Pacino plays everyone.
Yeah.
Quick rewrite corner. Rather than have it be a old bedtime story that apparently is only passed along one family line, why not have it be like a fucking Hans Christian Andersen, like some sort of tale that we all sort of know and
Right.
everyone's trying to remember together?
I guess so, but I mean...
And rather than use all these different terms that make it confusing to follow, why not just go like, in the story, there's always one who protects,
Are you kidding
one
me?
who understands,
You
rather
just
than
have
going
to
like the
learn
symbologist.
Narf, Scrunt, Tartuic, Symbologist, Guardian, Guild, Healer. What is so hard about this? Blue World,
The Guild.
Ogdenstires.
Well, I think
You have to learn Ogdenstein.
yeah, like he was just like, oh, J.K. Rowling did it. I can do it. People will learn this, right?
And we should. He wanted to direct a Harry Potter movie. He always talked about it. He always said he wanted to do it.
With
Obviously,
Haley
he was,
Joel Osment.
Yeah, he was kept away from it.
Yeah.
And that would have been something.
would
Night
have been
Shyamalan Harry
something.
Potter movie.
Well, he got to his kids franchise later.
Ooh.
Yeah, oh,
Two entries to go, guys.
Yeah.
Wait for that one.
He tried to do two kids franchises back to back.
Sure.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Okay, so they set up all these different roles.
so there needs to be all these different people.
Bryce Dallas Howard tells him that they exist, but cannot explain who they are.
Yeah,
This
she's-
is in order for the fucking eagle to come? Is that what it is?
Let me see that.
It's really unclear why they're doing this process of like finding
also, how'd she get in the pool in the first place? I thought
She
it was
came
like
up through the cave.
Right, so can't you go back through the cave? Did the door close?
No, you have to fly back to the water. You can't swim.
Oh,
back
right,
to the
because
water.
water's in the sky. That makes perfect
Right.
sense.
So anyway,
Griffin, a giant eagle carries you back to the water. What's not clear about
the
that?
crux of the movie is he goes to Bob Balaban and says, like, you know all about movies and stories.
And stories, yeah.
So who do you think, like, the symbologist would be,
And he goes,
for
of
example?
course I do. Movies are predictable. I've never seen anything that surprises me. I
he's
hate all
like,
films.
I just saw a rom-com. It sucked. They kissed in the rain. Who likes these movies? You know, he has like a lot of axes to
I guess you
grind.
could say it's about a spiritual rebirth. Giamatti says, like, what if it's like the rain is a metaphor to represent their cleansing? And he goes like, no, absolutely not. Like, he's a film critic who doesn't believe in reading into films, which means he is not any film critic in history.
Right.
Other than Lou Liminick. He's Lou
He's
Liminick.
He's no Action Jackson. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
What is it?
Lights, camera, action Jackson?
Lights, camera, Jackson. Thank you.
Cameron Jackson. What is his actual? His name is Jackson, right? That's his first name.
His first name is Action, but it's spelled AXQRTUN.
The Toast of Albany.
Action Jackson.
So Balaban says it's probably someone who likes puzzles. By the way, that's perfectly good advice. It's not like some film critic asshole thing to say. It's like, who do you think the symbologist might be?
Right.
What's he supposed to say? Like,
Robert Langdon.
Well, you should watch out for a kid who looks at cereal boxes.
Also, the way he poses the question is like, he doesn't go like, hey, you watch a lot of movies, you understand how stories work. If there was someone who needed to solve something, how do you think you could figure out? And he says, like, the character would usually be set up at the beginning of the film with innocuous dialogue, so they plant in your brain, which is like what he does in the first 15 minutes. But he goes like, if there needed to be a symbologist, who do you think it would be? Like, he presents them to Balaban with the proper titles that were given to him. And he goes, oh, a symbologist is in the Scrunt story. Probably Jeffrey Wright down the hall. He's a big enough actor that you wouldn't hire him to only do that one scene at the beginning.
He, a skeptical film critic, accepts the premises of the movie as immediately as anyone
The
else.
character makes no fucking sense because he's everything he hates.
Right. But I think Balaban's pretty good in the role.
I think Balaban's really good.
He's always good. Yeah. He's very good at just pursing his lips, you know, like, and not talking. Like, he communicates a lot.
There's an irony also to Bob Balaban playing a film critic, which is the filmmaker trying to get back at film critics, when Bob Balaban is like the ultimate film critics actor. Like, he's the kind of actor that all critics are like, God, I always love Balaban.
Yeah, more
he's
Balaban, if anything.
He's always like an audience surrogate for film critics because it's like, that guy looks smart and he's observing his surroundings.
So,
like, that's the Balaban type.
Right.
But, like, so they assemble these people. So the potheads are the guild.
Yeah, they got to have
Jeffrey
a lot
Wright's the symbologist. Yeah. The butterfly lady, played by Mary, not Kate
Mary
Beth
Hurt,
is the healer.
Correct.
And the guardian, she thinks, is Giamatti.
Cleveland.
Right.
Dr. Heap.
This doesn't work out.
Absolutely not. It's
what doesn't
a calamity.
Work out? But what doesn't? That's what I'm.
The
eagle
Scrunt charges.
The Scrunt charges. The eagle doesn't come. That's the problem.
That's the problem.
Okay.
And then they all kind of gather and they try to do like a practice.
So there's a bizarre scene where they throw a part.
By the way, she's mostly in the shower for the whole movie, just sitting in the shower,
giving sort of blinking instructions.
I wanted to say, like, if you came into that out of context, that scene where it's just a group of people standing around a woman crouched in the shower, it's so fucking creepy.
Does not look good.
The dynamic between Giamatti and
it is the preview image on Amazon. When you start up the video, the preview image is her in a shower looking like she's about to be attacked. It's horrifying.
The dynamic between Giamatti and Howard is always creepy. There's never any, like, I suppose it's supposed to be kind of paternal, but it doesn't work.
But it's also sexual.
It is.
She's naked the whole fucking
She's
movie.
naked. Yeah. She's a grown-up. Like, it doesn't work at all. Whatever
That's
he's
Ronnie
going
Howard's
for.
Kid we're talking about.
This is Hollywood royalty.
Ronnie Howard's kid.
So it doesn't work, and they all figure out that they actually should be something else.
When
But yes, there's a big party.
So they throw a party at ostensibly to welcome the new film critic to the apartment, right?
Yes, right. And he's overjoyed by the
in the party scene. You get the impression that M. Night Shyamalan has never been to a party. I have no idea what that is.
He's always missing on the list for his own premiere parties.
Yeah.
We got a Minaj Shamanan, but no M. Night because that's not a real name.
But no, let's. What's in this party? What do we got? There's balloons.
There's some balloons. There's
a DJ set indoors.
Silvertide's playing. Everyone's favorite band, Silvertide.
Right. Let's check in with Strong Arm Guy. Yeah, he's lifting on one side.
Oh, right. Yeah, right. Yep.
Which is this is the second time we've seen him in 45 minutes. He has the opening line of the film, and then he comes back at the 45-minute part.
Yeah, I mean, Freddy
to lift a drink to his mouth.
We all live in New York City. We live in apartment buildings. When you move into a new apartment building, they have a party party for you.
Always.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the and everyone comes.
A
That's the other
notoriously
thing.
warm
The
environment.
super of all people organizes the party.
Of course. Because the super is always like a really personable guy who knows everyone and gets
Who lives
along
in a
with
beautiful
everyone.
house full of West Elm furniture.
Right.
By the swimming pool.
And let's not give the super all the credit for throwing the party, because of course he has to enlist a guild.
Well, yeah,
and the guild's going
duh.
to be a bunch of judgmental people who scoff at everyone else who walks
Smoke
around them.
cigarettes and like rock music.
Right. They love throwing parties for their neighbors.
Yeah.
So there's a party.
Yeah.
Ostensibly to sort of smuggle her out away
So
from
the
the scrunt.
scrunt doesn't see her.
The
We get some cool Silvertide tracks on the soundtrack.
The scrunt sneaks into the apartment building and savages and murders Bob Balaban.
But not before Bob Balaban has weirdly torn down the movie by this is the moment where
Right.
it gets very meta.
He has a monologue where he's like, "Oh, I see. You're trying to scare me with this scary scene." Well, you're pointing at me, Griffin.
Because this is my favorite detail in the entire film. He goes, but in a film where there has been no cursing or explicit content
It's
up until
true.
this point, a family film, they will not actually let someone be murdered on camera.
Right.
So we'll come close to his death, but manage to close the door just the right second.
Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of stuff that kids love.
And
Right?
by-
Let's be
And
honest.
by pointing out that you're watching a kid's movie.
Bob
This is where
Balaban
a
giving
kid-
a Kevin Williamson style monologue. It's an outtake from Scream.
And I want to say, he's saying this is like a PG-13 movie. Do you know why? Because someone is ripped to pieces by a wolf.
Yeah.
No,
Even though it's
a
off
scrunt.
screen.
It's a scrunt, David. That's fucking offensive. Can I say something?
I'm
You're
still
getting
upset
on my
about-
case.
yeah, I'm on
You're
your
upset.
case.
I'm
Yeah.
upset. You think all fucking scrunts are wolves and vice versa? He makes
Kinda.
it very clear they're not wolves.
Does he?
That's
He
what I-
explains it to the fucking
I-
EPA guy, and he goes like, "Sounds like no wolf I've ever seen."
I forgot about that guy.
He's got grass fur.
That's
David?
why I didn't like The Revenant, because in real life, Hugh Glass was attacked by a scrunt.
I know, it's true. That is true.
And I just feel like that was a weird detail.
Well,
to not-
Matt Judge
a
thinks he
snow
was
scrunt.
raped by a scrunt.
Right.
I mean,
But Hugh Glass did not have a mirror, which you need to see the scrunts.
Yeah,
Is that right?
You can only look at them through a mirror unless they're the Guardian, and then you can look them in the eyes and make them back off.
there is that great scene in The Revenant
Right.
where Hugh Glass goes, "I'm a good character in a film with an R rating who's been kind to his son so far, which means the worst you could do is just pat me on the back. You couldn't fully beast me."
And then Tova Felcha shoots an arrow at him. It's great.
And that's it. Thank you guys.
We're going to get an iTunes review asking for less
Lady
bits
in the
next
Van.
episode.
Is that what we're talking about?
Welcome back to Lady in the Van Chat.
That's a terrible movie, by the way.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's so bad.
Well, I won't see these movies after I saw My Old Lady.
Lady in the Van is almost as hard to follow as Lady in the Water. Yeah.
You won't watch any film with Lady in the title and Maggie Smith in the title role.
Correct.
You won't.
No, did anyone else see My Old Lady?
No, it's terrible. The Kevin Kline one?
I advise you to not watch it because
Okay.
I value your sanity. But if you ever do watch it, be prepared for the most poisonously mean, toxic, horrible drama when you were expecting a hilarious comedy about an old lady who lives in an apartment. I don't know. I can't. I would need an hour to tell you what happens in My Old Lady.
A spinoff.
It was like being punched repeatedly in the
bonus
stomach.
episode. Just David alone.
Just monologuing on My Old Lady.
Yeah.
So he assigns all the people in the roles, and then it doesn't work, and he realizes that they're all wrong, and it's suddenly other people.
Yeah, and then it turns out it's like, oh, the guild isn't the stoners; it's these 5 Mexican sisters
Who are partying all the time.
and a couple other people, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't. They don't have to be sisters with each other.
There's 7
So
people who
Sarita-
are sisters.
Sarita Shara,
she
she's
counts
a sister.
she's
so
a
she
sister,
counts,
and that's
yeah.
by the way when I found out that she was M. Night's sister
That's
in the
exactly
movie.
right.
That's lunacy. That
no,
was clear for
It's
me.
not lunacy, and oh, by the way, that's all discerned from cereal boxes.
Right, because he's not the
Jeffrey Wright
symbologist.
is- So basically, their
Jeffrey
initial
Wright's not the
their initial
symbologist.
ideas about who was who are all wrong.
Right.
And there's a line or two in there where one of the characters gets angry
Guys,
at the critic
this is what
because
happens
he
in the
got
movie.
his textual read was wrong.
Yeah, and everyone in
And-
the room is like, I
And
can't
someone's like, he
believe it.
dared to presume he knew the mind of someone else. And it's like, oh, so this is M. Night Shyamalan being like, don't tell me what my motivations were for making The Village.
Right.
You fucker, or
The
whatever.
whole
Yeah.
movie is just
they
him-
act
yeah.
like they just said oh yeah, but it's because that film critic has been chopping up babies in his apartment for years. That's the level of their revulsion when they hear that he guessed maybe Jeffrey Wright was the symbologist.
It also feels a little like if you guys would stop guessing why I'm making the movies the way I'm making them, then maybe I'd settle down and make a movie you wanted to see.
well,
Right, exactly.
Nope.
You're wrong again.
So he realizes everything's wrong. There's the
turns
little boy.
out the kid's the symbologist, not Jeffrey Wright.
Because early in the film, when the father was doing the puzzle and we were distracted to look at the charisma of Jeffrey Wright, he's looking at a cereal box and going, I don't understand why this mascot looks sad, which is how I behaved as a child. And instead people went, oh, this kid has depression issues. He's not a symbologist.
But in the movie, you'd be the symbologist.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
And then my depression would go unchecked for years, and they just put a lot of pressure on me.
Now, the Guardian turns out to be who?
The guy with the big arm.
Oh, of course, Freddy Rodriguez.
Yeah, of course, because he's got one big arm. What else would he be?
And the healer is Paul Giamatti.
Yes.
Because, he's got to
So
he's got to get to his own healing.
She's
as well.
all scratched up by the scrunt.
Guys, this is all in the film.
But you're forgetting my favorite detail.
These are details from the film.
Mama and Grandma say, she said that sometimes, not all the time, but in certain tellings of the story, there are two bonus characters. Sometimes, but not all times.
Yeah.
Two bonus characters.
Yeah.
One is a man who with great judgment, and one is a man with no secrets.
But that's not canon, so I don't accept it.
It's not canon.
Yeah, right.
It's EU, right? It's Lady in the Water Legends, right?
Right.
Yeah. By the way, Disney's about to buy the Lady in the Water franchise for $2 billion.
No, they aren't, as we'll talk about.
Yes.
Narf, the motion picture.
Narf Origins.
A Lady in the Water story.
All right, go on.
So the
I don't even remember what you're talking about.
Yeah,
right
two
now.
bonus characters.
Who
A
are
man
the
of
two?
great judgment. Who is it? Bill Irwin. Because Bill Irwin saw
that's right,
that
yep.
Paul Giamatti was grieving and called him out on it and was like, it's a tough world we live in. We got to keep our head up. So he calls in a man. He says, I respect you greatly. And Bill Irwin stoically nods, right? And they go, a man with no secrets. Who has no secrets? Tova Felcher's husband, because he's constantly shitting.
And having his secrets told.
He doesn't know the people are on the other side of the door listening to him.
That is the
shit-talking.
most well-insulated bathroom door in the world, by the way.
It's a
'Cause Tova
one-way
Felcher
door.
is loudly screaming all of his secrets right outside of it.
No, but he also yells stuff back
He
at her.
does. So it's a
doesn't
one-way
know
door.
that other people are
Sure.
in the apartment. It's a one-way door.
Right.
So they bring the two of them in, and their job is just to stand there and go, come on, you could do this.
Right. And then they do it.
So she's all banged up, and then Paul Giamatti hugs her and starts saying, like, I'm sorry, I don't want you to die, but he's really talking to his wife and children.
Now, this is something I want to say that in previous M. Night Shyamalan films would have worked. Even if it would have been cheesy, that's how all his other movies work, and he sells it. Like Mel Gibson's character has got to get over this thing, and you get it at the end, like, oh, that's what everything was geared towards. Not in this movie.
It's barely a
Because
plot point.
we only find out the shit about his family like an hour through into the movie, and it's only through Bryce Dallas Howard like sort of chatting to him about
And
it.
they
Like,
drop it really fast. They don't. There's so much going on in this film that you can't remember a detail like that.
because
they're
this
throwing-
film is exposition on exposition on exposition. It's like everyone's here telling their own personal stories and their legendary stories, and
It's also, I think,
And it's a legendary picture, we should mention. This film was produced by Legendary Pictures.
correct, right?
I think it's filmed in a way that's entirely illegible. Like that party scene, aside from the fact that M. Night Shyamalan's never been to a party, is like bogglingly filmed. It's like what you don't know what you're looking at.
No.
Things start happening, and
No, does someone get murdered at some point?
I don't know.
She gets dragged off by a scrunt at some point, but you don't see that happen. You
'Cause of the
just
sprinklers.
see her kind of get dragged away. Like
Okay.
you don't.
But in his defense, the reason it's so hard to follow is because Christopher Doyle was having sex with a black woman and being arrested while they were filming.
that's right. That's right.
You can't make a movie per
Any
his
movie, he has to
quote.
do it per movie.
Yeah.
yeah.
He said, I meet these young filmmakers and I go, have you slept with a black woman? Have you gotten arrested?
Anyway.
If so, you don't have a story to tell. If not.
Okay. But we should talk about how there's the party, there's all the people, they all figure out their roles, they hug her, and then the eagle comes and the movie's over. Like, bam.
That's exactly right.
It's it's like, and then the eagle comes and we see the, what are they called? Tartuics?
Yeah.
For
like 2 seconds.
1 second.
They
Exactly.
look cool.
I guess so.
I
They're
like
like
the
tree
creature design in
people.
this
They
movie
look
a
like
lot.
the Ents from Lord of the Rings.
They look like little ants.
Grass people.
I don't think the creature design is good
Oh, the
in this
scrunt is
movie
made
at
of
all.
grass,
really
right?
I think the scrunt looks terrible.
I love the scrunt.
That's
The scrunt looks like a creature from a Buffy episode.
yeah. It's a crappy CGI wolf
I love
with
the
grass
scrunt.
fur.
I did watch it on a phone, but I think the scrunt looks good, and I in fact think that he makes good on some of the sins of the alien and signs in this film. I think the scrunt, he shoots better, designs better, does the reflection thing better. I like the
Disagree.
scrunt. I'm going to start making a line of scrunt shirts. Scrunt couture.
Look out for that in our store.
Yep.
Coming soon.
Coming soon.
Scrunt.
A lot of merchandise coming soon.
really
We're developing
nice
a whole
word.
line.
Yeah.
So that's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's a theory I'd like to present. People like to rag on M. Night for doing twists all the time. I think if he doesn't have a twist at the end of his movie, he doesn't understand how to end a movie.
Sure.
Because Signs does the same thing where it just ends.
Right. At least Signs has the jump forward. Like, it's very badly done, but it has that time jump.
But the jump forward lasts all of 15 seconds.
I know. It's
one shot.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing where someone holds onto a body, heals them through the power of prayer,
right.
and then the movie gives you one image, and it's
and then
done.
It's written and directed and produced.
The final image is rather pretty. The shot of Giamatti through the water.
Oh, yeah.
That's the final image.
There's some pretty shots in this movie.
And I think, I will say, in the movie's defense, the scenes, despite all the clunky, like, what the fuck is a symbologist, all the terms are horrible. But the scenes where they're, like, a bunch of grown-ups basically doing what kids do, which is sort of like play act and make believe,
and assigning each other,
and organize in that way. I think that's thrilling, and I think it like that a movie that was actually about that and done well would be like really cool to watch.
Simplified, if that's the thing he was trying to say, and
there's a couple scenes like that work.
Like adult make believe. It's cool.
Guys like Jeffrey Wright are good at that.
Yeah.
Like they're good at kind of spouting like stuff about like the source code, like, and you're just like, okay, sure, I buy it.
We've talked a lot about Shyamalan, whether or not the scenes work on a dramatic level. His sort of mise en scène is really good, where he has these great environments. He puts great actors in them.
I would say it's usually. I don't think it's as good in this movie though. Like I didn't have as good a sense of the.
But even in this
building.
film, there are these moments where he just has a fucking oneer. He doesn't care if you're seeing the back of one actor's head, and you get to watch 8 good actors in a room play off each other without cuts, and there's like an energy there.
Sure.
Whether or not that energy is being applied to something that we appreciate. It's like, guy is a confident director in a way that is assuring to watch.
Yeah. It's just like... I'm sure the experience of making the movie is much different than watching it. Like I don't know, they probably shot out of sequence. Like it probably made sense to them in the way that those games make sense to kids. You know, I'm sure it was like, yeah, we're gonna do this, and then so there's like art there, there's intent and effort, but like, the final product is, I think it's a really really bad movie.
I agree, and it's in service of a story that is not. Like, all right, Griffin, you're smiling.
I like this movie a lot.
Oh my!
It's
what
not
do
good.
what do you actually like about it? Besides what you just said, which I agree with.
I cannot argue that this movie is good. Yeah. I will not attempt to. And I admit that I have a near sexual fetish for super ambitious, misguided failures.
I don't think this film is that ambitious.
I think what he's trying to do in this film is insane.
Really? I just think
trying to build a whole mythology.
He is, but I mean, very half-heartedly, and like it's a very simple mythology.
Well, and he's also putting the mythology in a film that otherwise doesn't feel like a mythology movie.
I guess so.
I also think, these are my 2 big reads on this movie, okay? One is all M. Night Shyamalan films are crisis of faith movies, right?
Absolutely,
We've realized that at this point.
Right.
Which is fascinating. And I think it's fascinating that all M. Night Shyamalan films are about family, home life, relationships being fucked up, men who are weighed down by too many things and don't appreciate their wife enough, and crisis of faith movies. That are almost always Catholic, if not heavily Christian and bent, right? M. Night Shyamalan is Hindu, but he went to a Catholic school, so he absorbed all that, has been married to the same woman since he was 20 years old.
Sure.
So unless their marriage is very contentious, it feels like he's picked this as his story themes without them being the things he relates to, because he seems to be pretty centered spiritually.
You're balabanning right now. You're ascribing a lot of motivation.
Well, I find this fascinating, right?
Yeah, sure.
I don't know, but I find it fascinating that it doesn't feel like...
I don't think this is a very Catholic movie.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Now, this is the one where spirituality becomes a lot more abstract.
He gets a pieta in there, though. I mean, at the end.
He does. So. It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
No, but the thing that... the
spirituality...
This is the thing I think is really ambitious about this movie. I'm not saying it works. I would argue that most of this movie doesn't work. I think there are like 2 things in this film that work.
I don't think anything
but
works.
Somehow, the ambitious of it and the fucking lunacy of it. I mean, I like a movie that's this crazy, that fundamentally should not work. I'm not surprised when it doesn't work, because I'm like, yeah, but you swung for the fences. He swung away,
I go on.
The spirituality I think he's into in this film is he felt so wounded by everyone starting to hate his movies that he made a movie to try to, rather than make a film about the character reclaiming his own sense of faith, get the audience to believe in him again as a storyteller.
Oh, wow.
I'm not saying this is a sympathetic mission, but it's a crazy idea for a fucking movie. Is he made a movie that's like, everyone calm down, act like a child, and just love a story. to sit down, drink a glass of milk,
but it's
and
love
a
story with me at the center, which is weird.
Which is lunacy.
I don't think it's
madness.
lunacy. I think it's stupid.
I'm not commending him for this. I'm saying I find it
But
fascinating.
you are commending him.
I'm saying I enjoy watching it.
All right.
I'm not attributing any positive or negative qualities to it.
I give this movie 1 star.
I give this movie 27 stars.
So, but I'm curious, because your great project here is not just about Lady in the Water, it's about his oeuvre.
It's true.
Figuring out him. Yeah.
This, you guys have said in previous episodes, I am a dedicated listener.
Thank you.
That The Village marks something of a turning point because it's when the bloom fell off the rose, really, for him, right? Like, people didn't like that movie.
It's the first real serious backlash he's faced,
so
right?
This movie, Lady in the Water, is what solidified his downfall? Is that what we
dynamited his career
and
into smithereens.
This is when his movies start feeling scared.
Not only
they stop being scary and they start feeling like films of a man who's trying to hold on to what he has.
Let's also remember, this is not only the film that dynamites his career in terms of, like, it is a bad movie that everyone hates. It's a film that ruins his industry reputation because of his, like, well-publicized freak out at Disney for not buying the movie.
Okay.
And
then
the
it didn't
book,
do well.
The Man Who Heard Voices. And, like, it is where M. Night Shyamalan, who is top billed in this movie on the poster, as he had always been, is, like, really, like, torn down at every sort of angle.
Right.
And it's the movie where he is martyring himself in the movie.
Right. Yeah.
It is like the perfect conflagration. I can't think of a more spectacular, like, director blow up, right?
I want to read a
like
novel,
Vincent Gallo,
or I want to read a nonfiction novel about the making of this movie. And
There is
one.
Yes,
it's called The Man Who Heard Voices.
So this is for our listeners. This is the brief backstory on this film,
I have never read it.
But it's about Lady in the Water.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, I think it's about M. Night, but it's sort of centered on Lady in the Water.
Who wrote it?
Some journalist.
So he, at this point...
Night M...
Dr. Heap.
The movie before this, he commissioned The Buried Secret of M. Night Shyamalan, which was a mockumentary about people trying to investigate him. That was my first acting job that was almost entirely cut out of. Well, we will watch at some later date. I have bought it on DVD. I have never seen it in my life.
Okay.
But I did cash that check for $150, which I was told at the time was SAG minimum.
Great. Not $65,000? You didn't get $65,000?
I was told.
No, go on.
But he, at this time, was trying to mythologize himself, in this real way. And so rather than make an artificial thing, he hired someone and said, I'm starting a new film. I have my script. I'm going to hire you to follow me around and write the entire process of how an M. Night film gets
Illustrated writer Michael Bamberger. That's the author.
Do you think he was so distracted by that that's how he lost his, like, I don't know. Anyway, go on.
I think from the moment he handed in the script, he had this writer on hand, right?
Right.
And he thought the book was just going to be, here's a look into the process of America's most successful and beloved filmmaker. Right?
Right.
Now this
will save humanity from itself someday.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Are you going to read about what happened with this movie?
Yeah, there's a really good, succinct quote here on the Amazon X-ray from the IMDb trivia. But he... okay, according to the book, The Man Who Heard Voices, or How M. Night Shyamalan Risked His Career on a Fairy Tale, one of the reasons why Shyamalan decided to part with Disney was because Disney's president of development, Nina Jacobson, took her son to a party instead of staying home to read the script for Lady in the Water. Shyamalan had it personally couriered to her, and to add insult to injury, she didn't like it anyway. Shyamalan went off in a huff, and the creative differences he purportedly had with Disney was that he simply felt there was nothing creative about Disney anymore. Because he at the time said, I'm leaving them for creative differences. And they're saying that it was just him shit-talking Disney. He took the script to Warner Brothers instead, but without the usual marketing campaign that Disney promoted his other films with, Lady in the Water was a box office flop.
That's
some of that's
simple,
bullshit. Because Warner Brothers marketed the shit out of this movie.
Yeah.
It did $18 million opening weekend, which is not terrible for a film that had horrible reviews and two actors who are not box office draws and was a director working outside of his genre.
Yep.
Right. And the insult was taking her son to a birthday party?
That she didn't
and I guess not
immediately
liking
sit
the script
home
and
and
bowing
love the
to
script.
him. Right.
Dear, how dare she?
Now, not like it. What I had always heard, the legend I have heard, is that she just said, okay, M. Night, I think it's an interesting idea. Here are my notes.
Yeah, she spoke to him about the storyline.
And he said, fuck you, I'm M. Night Shyamalan. I don't get notes. I'm paraphrasing.
According to Wikipedia, also, Dick Cook, who is Nina Jacobson's boss, literally said to her, like, I do not understand what this movie is.
Which I
get
most
M. Night,
reacted.
I get him, and I want to make his movie, but I don't know. I don't know what this is.
Now, what I've heard is that they were all sort of supportive and said, like, we want to make an M. Night Shyamalan.
They still said they would make the movie.
They still said they'd make it, and he took it away.
Yeah.
No.
And so now he said to this guy who's writing the book, like, great, you get to write a book about me reinventing myself.
Right.
And the book ended up sort of,
it's
really,
a hit job.
Yeah.
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 And he hated it.
And who released this movie?
Warner Brothers.
So he, Tova Felch's style, kicked himself in the behind and soared over to Warner Brothers.
Yes, yeah. He Loraxed him over.
Legendary Pictures, who at this point had made like Batman Begins, was like becoming Warner Brothers financiers for all their biggest tentpole movies.
Right.
And it makes $18 million opening weekend, a competitive weekend.
Yeah, do you want to tell me some of the... Can you guess?
I looked it up recently. I know my super ex-girlfriend was number 3 that weekend.
No, it was number 7.
Jesus
Lady in the
Christ.
Water was number 3.
Number 1 was still Pirates of the Caribbean.
35 mil in its third weekend.
Number 2 would have been
8.
Cars was 11.
Cars is a 10.
Okay. I was
Number 2 is an animated film nominated for an Oscar, written by Dan
Monster
Harmon.
House.
Yes,
Monster House was number
the charming Monster House.
I never saw it.
It's a good movie. That opened to 22, and Lady opened to 18 mil.
And made in total 40?
It ended up with a grand total of $42 million, 72 worldwide.
And it cost 70 to make.
70.
75. So that's a horrible result. A terrible multiplier. I mean, it was like immediately audiences.
Other movies in there: You Mean Dupree, Little Man, Clerks 2, My
Little
Super
Manhattan with Cynthia
Ex-Girlfriend,
Nixon.
Superman Returns, Devil Wears Prada, Click, Cars. Yeah.
Good year for film.
Yeah.
So I think we're pretty much getting there, huh? Wouldn't you say towards the end
Yes.
of the episode?
Well,
Now,
there's
I know you
okay.
have your segment that you want to set up. I did want to throw something out to you guys if you're interested. My thought was, why did this have to take place in a shitty apartment complex? So I wrote a list of other places that it could have been set in.
I like this.
Here we go.
Good segment.
So off the top, I was thinking, what about a golf course? So the
With a pool or the little
a
drop?
lake.
A lake.
And
Oh, sure, a water feature.
And
Lady
so
in the lake.
The lady, she comes a caddy for a golf player who's having trouble with his game.
So it's Tin Cup, basically. Yeah.
Sorta.
And she's like the Rene Russo.
Or like Bagger Vance.
The Legend of Bagger Vance.
Yeah.
Do you guys know what the villain's name, played by Don Johnson in Tin Cup, is?
A scrum.
David Sims.
Is that true?
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, go on.
Okay.
No one's really into that one.
But Ben, I feel like you're not selling these as much as you
Yeah,
usually
you're
do.
kinda-
You're
All right,
usually excited when you throw these ideas out.
I got a good one. How about on a pirate ship?
Yeah.
Big that summer, Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah,
was
Pirates of the
huge that
Caribbean.
summer.
Make it like a time, like made in the past.
It's made in the past or it's set in the past?
It's set in the past.
Okay.
And then this could be the root of the mermaid legend angle. Like that, that's how you like set
Origin
that up.
story.
This movie
Yeah.
might work better as like a sea shanty, like that, right?
As Fathoms Below at the beginning of Little Mermaid.
Yeah, I mean, right? Like, you just lean into it. I mean, I get the idea of like, oh, what if you're
A sea shanty from M. Night Shyamalan.
based on an original sea shanty?
So
This movie sucks. Fuck this movie.
This is what I'm going to say. I can't defend this movie as being good, right?
No.
But I find it fascinating to watch. And I
Yeah,
enjoy
well, it's
watching
a bit
it.
of a blank check,
I enjoy
fascinating.
watching it more than most movies.
I totally
Like,
disagree.
I watched it on a plane and
Yeah.
was like, I would watch this again. Like, I'm so engaged by this movie and trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. Not in any way that's a credit to him, but in the way that like film is interesting because J.D. Amato, past guest, said that all films he believes are in some
about
way
their
reflective.
director.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
And this
okay,
film-
but one of them, this movie has its director in it but go on.
That's the thing. It's so naked and it's so transparent, but also so unself-aware at the same time that I'm like fascinated by it. I want to dive into the bottom and get the clay and rub it on my legs.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think
As a study of ego, it's fascinating.
and it is a naked and vulnerable movie in those terms.
But to watch it, I mean, I'm a Luddite, and so I've never downloaded a movie from iTunes before.
Oh,
this.
wow. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so I did. I
Sure.
paid $4
Yeah,
for
you
it.
told me very
And-
excitedly that you're going to do this, and I was like, all right, Richard.
I've never done it before. I've never ordered anything from Amazon either.
Humble brag.
But I thought that I had done something wrong, and the movie was skipping scenes because I could not follow it. Like I was like, is
You
the
were
download wrong?
You were
Yeah.
like the people watching the last episode of The Sopranos, and you're like, should I call my cable company?
Which I almost did in 2008 or whatever that was. Seven.
Yeah.
Can I make my one final point that I find
Yes, sorry.
interesting? And I'm not trying to win you over, but this is the read of this film that I think makes it fascinating, okay? Popular theory, I think he confirmed it, that Inception was Christopher Nolan's film about filmmaking.
Did he ever confirm that? I do like that idea. Sure.
That
Or
all
at
the
least that's one
characters in the
angle
film-
on Inception.
And that's another movie with
And
a lot of stupid titles of people who have specific jobs.
And Nolan's a blank check filmmaker who we should
100%.
cover one day.
But the idea is that like DiCaprio's the director and
Oh, yeah,
Joseph Gordon-Levitt's the producer and Tom Hardy's
No.
the actor,
What,
all that sort of stuff.
Ken Watanabe is the producer.
Marion Cotillard is M. Night Shyamalan.
I thought Ken Watanabe was the studio. He was
Okay,
the
he's the
financer.
studio. Fine. All right.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt's the muscle who fights for his things,
All right,
right?
all right. Yeah,
and
sure.
Ellen Page is the writer.
Ellen Page is the writer. Tom Hardy's the actor. Blah, blah, blah.
Marion
Right,
Cotillard's what, though?
yeah.
She's the
Marion
inspiration.
Cotillard.
She's the muse.
She's art.
She's the muse. She's art. She's a film's fatal flaws.
She's the cookbook.
Yeah, she's the cookbook. Le Cookbook.
Okay.
Le Livre de Cooking. That's not French.
Oh, I kept on looking up how to say Lady in the Water in French. It's because it's easy. It's like
Femme
Dame
dans l'eau.
De
yeah,
l'eau.
yeah.
De
It's-
l'eau.
So there's
it's
probably
a lot
another
better.
De la
word for
Lo.
in
Water
the
is
water.
L''EAU.
Right.
Yes.
Is the water.
Anyway, continue. Sorry.
Anyway. I think this film was Shyamalan trying to make that film as well. This argument he's making to people being like, stop being so cynical, just fucking enjoy a story. I'm trying to tell a story for you. He's also trying to make a movie about how stories get told, right? Which is very, very, like, clunkingly,
Down low.
There we go.
Go
there you go.
cool. This is a movie in which a woman whose name is Story has to be saved and protected and carried off into the sky.
Very true.
By a whole team of people who all have very, very specific positions, you know? And roles they have to do in the collaborative process of filmmaking and how a story gets translated to the people. What I find fascinating about that is a movie in which a guy, anytime anyone told him, gave him any constructive criticism, he was like, fuck you, I'm M. Night Shyamalan. I know exactly what I'm doing. I don't need any help from anybody.
But everyone does turn out to be wrong.
Yes, as he did as well. He turned out to be wrong for thinking he could do it in his own way.
Do you have anything else? Because I think we're approaching 2 hours on this one.
I think this movie's fascinating.
It is fascinating. I
In
just
that
don't think
context,
it's good.
it is, but it's a horror to watch.
Right, I agree.
awful.
Where you lose me is the idea that this is a watchable film. I find it very unwatchable.
I'm gay, and I just don't see the appeal of Scrunt. Sorry.
I want to officially come out as a scruntmosexual. No, yes, as I said, I have this near sexual fetish for films that are this sort of disastrous and ambitious and this naked, right? And so watchability is a thing that I don't link to quality.
Okay, but as a critic, you got to think about watchability, I guess. Maybe that's why. I don't know.
Sure.
But I find boring movies watchable sometimes. I don't know.
I wouldn't recommend it to anyone else, but I'm just telling you, to be honest, M. Night style, nakedly honest, I can watch this movie like 1,000 times.
I dare you to watch this movie.
But I've also
never watch it again.
I've
Me
seen
neither.
Old Dogs 40 times for the same reason. Like,
No,
I
but Old
can't
Dogs
figure
is
it out.
funny. It's trying to entertain you. This movie is weirdly not trying to entertain
It's
you.
so somber. There's no whimsy.
Yeah.
I mean, a bedtime story. I don't know.
I
Got
agree with
actors
that.
I like.
And this is a filmmaker who, before this, has always tried to entertain. He's been very Spielbergy. He's been entertainment first, even when he's telling his stories. And he completely forgets to do that in this movie because he's so wrapped up in his own fucking drama that we don't care
his own
about.
cookbook, his ideas on cultural problems.
Yeah, in his own cookbook.
And I'll
M.
say
Night
this, too.
Shyamalan had made good movies up until now, and he's made this angry movie as if he'd made bad movies.
Yeah, he's very defensive, insecure.
Relax,
Big
buddy.
baby.
You're like a fucking success. You're like a $20 million
He's telling
picture
himself
guy.
a bedtime story. That's what he's doing.
And he's also like 32 by the time this movie's made, right? I mean, he's still
he that
really
young?
fucking young. We
Really?
looked it up the other day because he's what, 21 when Praying with Anger is made?
Yeah, but that's 92. That's he's 45 now. He was born in 1970.
So he was 35.
Good job, M. Night.
Yeah. Lady in the Water, a film by M. Night Shyamalan, a bedtime story.
Anything else?
If I'm going to shit on it, I have to agree with you guys. I was watching it on a plane. I was trying to fall asleep, and it didn't do its job. I didn't fall asleep after watching it. I didn't sleep a wink on the plane.
Did you have another bit you wanted to do?
No, the second segment I want to do was the trivia thing, which I interspersed throughout the episode. That's a new trivia.
I think you were also going to talk about PlayStation, but
I'm not going to talk about it. It'll make me too angry.
okay.
Sony PlayStation, someone hacked into my account when I was on an overnight flight.
There's
now
a
they
long
suspended
Twitter
the account.
Twitter
Go
novel.
on to Twitter, read it. But I
It's
no longer...
called Griffin's Newman's The Cookbook.
It's my cookbook. I no longer can watch fucking Hulu or play Disney Infinity because someone hacked into my account and Sony has blamed me for that,
Some
even though I have an
scrunt.
alibi.
Yeah, but it was a little weird that your password was... I don't know. Some
69
some
420,
improv
whatever you
joke.
want to say. Tova Felch, whatever.
Tova
callback.
Lorax.
Tova Lorax.
Yeah.
21.
My password was place callback here. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you, Richard.
I want to say thank you for having me. This
Yes.
was so much fun.
Hey.
I'm like,
This was a good
I
one.
get very excited every time there's a new episode up. So thanks. This is good. I'm glad that I switched from The Village to this.
Yeah.
I think good call. I
Had
think
you seen The Village?
Le Village. I believe I saw that in the theater
So
with my sister.
You got to see a new movie instead.
Yeah, I did. Yep.
Yeah.
next time
We're glad you came, Richard. It was great to see you.
Well, thanks. It's very hot in here. So
It is. It's
Let's
getting quite
wrap up.
balmy.
Next time my Shyamalan film is The Happening.
Correct.
And we are going to, I might ask to cut this out. I don't think so, just because I haven't confirmed with him.
You should probably confirm with him.
But keep it in if I then tell you that we've confirmed.
Griffin, we're releasing this in like a day,
I
so
know.
okay.
Our guest, I believe, on the episode will be James Urbaniak, the great actor.
Very exciting.
The great actor
Love him.
James Urbaniak will be our guest for The Happening, which is the one that he special requested as well.
Well, I've never seen The Happening in full. I think I watched about an hour plus of it
Betty
on TV
Buckley's
once.
in it. Get ready.
All right.
I'll say it's my least favorite one.
Well,
It's
but
his
have
first
you?
R-rated, right?
It is, and that's how it was advertised.
I haven't seen The Last Airbender.
We should talk about how this movie was such a colossal bomb that of course he leans right back.
Did you
into,
see
like,
the
I'll
first
make-
Airbender?
Yes, I did see that one.
We're not going to top that. We're not going to top that. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Yes. And as always, keep on squatting after your dreams.